Suslov with the corner, away by Rabiot, that's Folorunsho! That is a glorious goal! Michael Folorunsho with nominally his weaker foot.
Hey up, mid-ducks, and welcome back to another episode of Serie A Spotlight. This is episode 114, and we're your hosts Matt
and Jake,
here to discuss Matchday 25, which was full of bangers.
Full of bangers, and the goal of the week was a particularly difficult one to choose, bro.
Yes. Today, more than ever, I would say.
Yeah. Folorunsho had an incredible strike with his weaker left foot. A beautiful volley against Juventus.
On the turn, bro.
On the turn. Absolutely insane strike. And Huijsen just decided to, I don't even know who he became.
He became Theo Hernandez.
There we go. He had the ball at the halfway line. He dribbled a player, advanced, dribbled another player, and curled it from outside the area, placing it into the back of the net. And then he did the softest
it was a really chill one. It's like just gonna hit a quick sui, guys, and we can get on with it. Like it's Frosinone at the end of the day. I don't want to give this my all.
I think the Folorunsho goal was special though. It was so sweetly struck and so perfectly hit that like he'll never replicate that goal again.
He'll never connect with a ball like that ever again.
Especially with his left.
It's about the cleanest, weaker foot strike you'll ever catch, and obviously the stage in which he did it for Verona, getting the opener against Juve.
His stocks are rising. The guy's been on loan from Napoli for a while.
Yeah.
And he was at Bari last season. He had a promising season, but granted it was in Serie B. But this year he's been our goal of the week.
Twice now.
Yeah, twice. That's crazy. The other goal was incredible as well. He dribbled. It was similar to Huijsen's.
Exactly. Just Huijsen's goal any other week and it would have fucking taken it, I swear to God.
Most likely.
Just one more point regarding Huijsen's goal is that of course, Huijsen had to make the decision whether to join Frosinone or whether to join Roma just last January. And he was confident enough to choose Roma because Mourinho wanted him. And he said, I'll earn my place at Roma and I'll play. And there he is, showing Frosinone what they missed out on.
Yeah, and Roma, of course, already want to extend his loan or make him permanent at the end of the season, but Juve, apparently, according to Tuttosport, have closed all the doors and are set to bring him back to Turin for next season.
Yeah, look, he's a young, talented, and very deployable centre-back. Especially Juve, they need as many centre-backs as they can get their hands on with playing a three at the back formation. Rome obviously could have used him this season when Evan Ndika was out at AFCON. But yeah, it turns out Huijsen is hot property.
Absolutely. And he has the appearance of a teenager, and he is a teenager, but at the end of the day he plays like a veteran, man. He's got a calm head, a composed head on those shoulders.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's speak a bit about Europe. Rather than speak about it, let's go through the European competitions a bit. You were absolutely right about Lazio beating Bayern Munich, and I was absolutely wrong. Lazio won, Bayern Munich 0. What a performance and what a shift Lazio put in this game. They were defending in numbers, they were attacking in numbers, they were confident. What did you think?
Bro, at the end of the game, Sarri went in front of the press and said he was disappointed that they didn't get another goal after what's-his-name was sent off at the end. They honestly could have made it more.
A completely different side, Lazio.
Yes, they really played the occasion, and they had a lot of frustration that they vented out, and they got it done. As I said, this was an opportunity for them to kind of have a blank slate, like a fresh start. Things haven't been going very well in the league, but this is the first round of a European knockout game, so they could write their own destiny and kind of like start from the beginning. And they seized the opportunity by the balls, and Bayern Munich didn't have a single shot on target, and they made Harry Kane look like an amateur.
Yeah, look like a dweeb.
Yeah,
fuck you, Harry.
That's a fun little statistic as well, that it was Bayern Munich and Atletico Madrid had 0 shots on target against Inter and Lazio.
Let's jump onto that. Inter 1, Atletico 0. I definitely think Inter could have had more goals here. I think in well, a lot of them were wasteful. Even Lautaro was a bit wasteful at times, but particularly Arnautovic, which isn't news. We've seen him.
It's a theme.
Yeah, and typically in order to get a goal against Atletico, be it at home or away, in this case, naturally Inter were home, you need to suck off the entire stadium in order to score against the way they are quite literally a 5 at the back. Not even a 3 at the back, but a 5 at the back. It's a Diego Simeone old school system. But Inter controlled the tempo of that game. They were constantly attacking, and in Atletico's half, I thought Inter were good. I thought they could have made it more, to be honest.
Yeah, for sure. Atletico are still in this tie, but yeah, Inter were absolutely dominant in that game. I don't think they gave Atletico a sniff, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. The thing is, Atletico have some players that could turn a game around. They've got some real game changers, particularly Antoine Griezmann.
And Inter have suffered an injury as well. Thuram's out for 20 days.
Is he out for 20 days?
Yeah.
Does that mean Arnautovic is going to need to play for 20 days?
I guess so, unless they figure something else out. I don't think they have many options, to be honest with you.
It's
either him or Sanchez. Yeah.
So, Ooh. Napoli are playing.
Anything will happen.
No, Inter are running away with the league. By the way, just an announcement over here. Inter won the league, guys.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, Inter. You have won the league. It's quite official from where we're standing after Juve and Milan drop points again. But we'll get into that. Napoli are playing tonight against Barca. They start in around 2 hours, so very excited for that. Milan beat Rennes 3-0. It was a fantastic performance by Milan. Great display, dominating.
Super performance. And when you play against a team that you don't really watch, your favorite team play, or a team you like plays against a team that you don't really watch in a European fixture, and you don't know what to expect. I had seen so these guys, their numbers domestically are great. They hadn't lost a game in 2024. They had won every single game in 2024, and even the last one of 2023.
Yeah, they won 8 games in a row.
Yeah, they were flying. I don't know if Milan were great or if they were absolutely terrible, but I don't know, man. Like, Lecce put up more of a fight than these guys. Udinese are a way tougher side than these guys.
I agree with you wholeheartedly, bro. I'm sorry, but this French league, in my opinion, is fucking nothing, bro. Like, genuinely, like, maybe the top 2, top 3 can offer something.
I think maybe overall the standard isn't the same as Italy. Of course, it's known that the Italian league has improved, whereas the French league kind of, you have a few teams here and there, but a few come up and go down, like Marseille sometimes are good, Lyon sometimes go. I think they're more of like a place where players develop nowadays, man.
Exactly.
Like, you get so many gems from the French league, like Arthur Theat is there nowadays. There was Seko Fofana there at one point. There are so many bargains in the French league to go for. But of course, still an entertaining league. I'm just not sure if Milan were just incredible or if they were absolutely terrible. I think it might have been a combination of both, because their defending left a lot to be desired. But they did show quite a bit going forward. They challenged Mike a few times, and it wouldn't be the first time if they were to come back. If you remember, in 2004, Milan, a star-studded Milan, took on Deportivo in a European knockout game. I believe this was the year Inter won it. And they won the first leg 3-0. In the second leg, they went out full squad, everything. Like, we're talking Cafu, we're talking Seedorf, we're talking Gattuso, like star-studded, bro. Pirlo, everyone was there. And they lost 4-0. Milan lost 4-0 and were knocked out. And it's not the first time it happened. You look at the Champions League final against Liverpool, for example. 3-0 in the first half. You concede 3 in the second half. In European fixtures, anything can happen.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I don't really think Milan have anything to worry about. I think they could go in with a fair bit of rotation and get this done after.
I wouldn't rotate anyone. I think it's a good thing that Pioli got the rotation done against Monza, even though that was a disaster.
No, there's Atalanta coming up.
It's true. But at this point, what do Milan want? We congratulated Inter on the league. What's the point of going out full squad against Atalanta and risking Europe?
Jake, it is not a guarantee that Milan are going to get Champions League. It's not.
It's not. It's true, but it's not a guarantee that you'll go out with your reserves. You're
I'm not
telling
saying
me
go out with your reserves, but you can afford to. I don't like the way Pioli rotates, which is something we'll discuss soon. But it's either like all or nothing. It's either like 3 guys who have never played together, or 3 of the same faces every time. It's like drop 1 or drop 2 of them. Keep Giroud in the middle, let them link up, let them link them up.
He never introduces
He
like
could do something.
Chukwueze with the rest of the starting team.
Chukwueze never plays with Giroud, never plays with Leao. You know, how are they supposed to challenge for the first team? But let's jump to the other game. It was Feyenoord 1, Roma 1. Feyenoord always give Roma a tough game. However, Lukaku seems confident that it'll be a totally different game in the Olimpico.
Yeah.
This was tough, bro, for Roma. Feyenoord looked fucking solid. They looked tough to break down and solid going forward. Very fluid.
I mean, they're always another team that produces great talent. Feyenoord, they have some very tricky players, and they did give Roma quite a tough time, as they always do. And they gave Lazio a tough time as well recently.
Yes,
I believe,
yes.
in a European fixture. But yeah, Roma continue to impress, man. De Rossi continues to impress, and yeah, the second leg will be a different story at the Olimpico, definitely.
Yeah, I think so. Guys, if you're new here, don't forget to drop a rating, 5 stars, if you can. We've got a 5-star average, and it would be great to maintain that. Drop us a follow on YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram at Serie Spotlight. And yeah, maybe even become a patron for $3.99. Help us contribute to the growth of this podcast.
Become a patron today. Become a legend, just like Alan, Andrew, Andy, Anthony, Tim, Campbell, Sluge McNoodle, David, Lena, Kyle, Luca, Matthias, Mintoff, Tuna. Not by Tuna, I mean Tonna, Michael, and Ed. These are our spotheads. These are the people who keep this show alive. And if you would like to join them, guys, it's $3.99 a month, and you'll be added to a WhatsApp chat with football hooligans, and they're just obsessed with football. They bleed football, these guys, and they're constantly talking about it, and you learn a lot, from this group.
You know, it's one thing I can't do anymore. Well, I can't find a way to do it, but like yesterday, I tried to leave a podcast on while I was falling asleep. So naturally my internet was on and my phone kept vibrating, because we've got brothers in America, Australia, all communicating all the time about football. So I had to turn off my podcast, turn off my internet to get some sleep.
You can mute groups, right?
Yeah. But I don't want to, bro. I want to see what they're talking about. They pick up the most obscure conversations about obscure football teams, the Swedish league and this and that. It's amazing. The amount of ball knowledge in there is amazing. But I think we've been yapping for a while, and we should really, really start talking about what happened in Matchday 25. For the rundown, we'll start off with Inter's dominant display with a 4-0 victory over Salernitana. It was an absolute baptism of fire for Salernitana coach Fabio Liverani. We'll then jump to Verona 2, Juventus 2, where Michael Folorunsho scored an absolute screamer to open the scoring, and Juve once again dropping points. Milan had the opportunity to jump Juve and go in second after facing Monza away from home, but lost 4-2. They did get back from 2 goals down with 10 men to make it 2-2. However, got a little bit greedy, and Monza managed to run away with a 4-2 victory. Atalanta 3, Sassuolo 0. 2 penalties saved by Carnesecchi. Well, it was 1 penalty which had to be retaken, and 2 fantastic saves by yet another talented young Italian goalkeeper. Lazio 1, Bologna 2. Bologna have now gotten the better of Lazio twice this season, and it was a great display over here by Bologna away from home, which is only their second away win this season, which is fucking crazy. Napoli got an equalizer against Genoa in the last minute through Ngonge to make it 1-1. Another disappointing result there by Napoli. Frosinone 0, Roma 3, where Huijsen turned into Theo Hernandez, dribbled the entire team and struck from distance. Empoli 1, Fiorentina 1. You could say, what a disappointing result for Fiorentina. But keep in mind, this is quite a fierce rivalry. In Florence, they are the 2 teams of Florence. And naturally, Empoli are under great momentum under their new management. Torino 2, Lecce 0. A red card for Lecce over there as well. It was Pongracic who got sent off. And Udinese 1, Cagliari 1 to end things off.
Action-packed. This was an action-packed one. Quite a few like high-scoring games here.
Yeah, and no Monday night games, which was quite odd. I missed the Monday night game.
Same here.
But it was Friday, Saturday, and Sunday that the games took place. But let's start off with one of the Friday games. I believe this was the Friday night game. Inter 4, Salernitana 0. Inter were coming off an away 4-2 victory over Roma, while Salernitana were coming off a 3-1 home loss to Empoli, which saw Pippo Inzaghi sacked. The previous encounter was also a 4-0 win for Inter, but they were away from home naturally. Now, despite Inter being days away from a crucial Champions League fixture versus Atletico Madrid, squad rotation was kept to an absolute minimum in this match, with the exception of their wing-backs as Darmian and DeMarco were rested and started versus Atletico. Salernitana were making their debut under new manager Fabio Liverani, their third coach of the season, facing a sheer baptism of fire. It was a 3-5-2 formation for Inzaghi's men, Sommer in goal and the backline of Bastoni, De Vrij and Pavard, Carlos Augusto on the left, Dumfries on the right, and the midfield trio of Mkhitaryan, Çalhanoğlu and Barella, with Thuram and Lautaro Martinez up front. It's a 3-4-2-1 formation for Liverani's men, with Ochoa in goal and a backline of Pasalidis, Boateng and Pellegrino, Sambia on the right, Zanoli on the left, and a double pivot of Koulibaly and Basic, with Kandreva and Dia flanking Chuana. Now, in the opening 5 minutes, Inter hit the post twice. First, Thuram on a rebound following a great save by Ochoa on Bastoni, and second, Barella whacking the crossbar when clean through on goal following a miraculous pass by Bastoni. Turns out Ochoa got a fingertip to this, so 2 great saves by Ochoa as well in the opening 5 minutes. In the 17th minute, Inter opened the scoring through Thuram. Augusto charged down the flank and provided a low cross to the unmarked Thuram, who slotted in well. Great work by Augusto, who regained his footing after a collision during his run, showing great strength. And naturally, the way that he plays that ball, he's one of those that takes his time to look up and pick out a man. And Thuram, always so patient, also totally unmarked over here. Just 1 minute later, Inter scored another goal. This time it was Lautaro Martinez who got his 20th goal this season. They scored twice in a minute. Lautaro received the ball ahead of Salernitana's defensive line from a throw-in. I think Salernitana forgot that there's no offside when it comes to throw-ins. He held on to the ball well whilst awaiting assistance, but instead set himself up and curled the ball into the far corner from the edge of the area to make it 2-0. In the 39th minute, Dumfries made it 3. Barella's cross ricocheted off a defender and towards Ochoa, who spilled the ball. Dumfries, who started his first match since the 6th of January, pounced to tap in. In the 90th minute, just rubbing salt in the wounds over here, Arnautovic made it 4. Dumfries' deflected cross fell kindly to Arnautovic, who finished off without problem. What I found weird about this is, well, it worked out, but there was virtually no squad rotation, just the wing backs. What is it, because they run fucking the entire game and the rest of them are chilling?
They do a lot of work, these fullbacks, depending on which side the ball is at. One of them drops deep, close to the box. The other one advances and sprints to become the highest reference point in the team, pretty much advancing further than the striker. It's usually Dumfries who makes that run.
Yeah.
They do definitely work tirelessly, and I think rotating the wingers is a very smart idea, especially when you have capable wingers like Carlos Augusto as your secondary choice. Inter at the moment are playing like one of the best teams in the world. You can tell that they believe that they are one of the best teams in the world. They're one of the best offensive sides in Italy. They're one of the best defensive sides in Italy as well. So they're perfectly balanced. They can probably take on anyone in Europe. I bet you there's a belief there that they can probably push for the Champions League as well.
Yeah.
A friend of mine put a €100 bet, by the way, on Inter to win the Champions League. The return would be €1,500 from 100. So
wow.
Yeah, that's pretty
Betting companies are wild and out here. Sponsor the fuck out of us, what?
Yeah, please. But Inter have really stepped up, and along with Inter stepping up, man, Lautaro has stepped up as well, and he's really become captain fantastic at Inter.
20 goals this season, 5 against Salernitana.
It's a quarter.
Like Salamakers, like he only scores against Salernitana.
Salerno, man.
Yeah.
Yes, they've hit a new level this season, Inter, and there isn't much anyone, to be honest, domestically can do to stop them at this point. I must say, though, when it comes to Salernitana, under Pippo, I'd never seen a performance like this. Under Pippo Inzaghi.
In what sense?
As in,
bad?
even when Pippo played...
They were horrible against Empoli.
That's the problem. That's the problem, because that was the worst display of them all. And it came in the most important game. But against top sides like Juve, top sides like Napoli, they put on a fight, man. You know, they put up a fucking fight.
But relax, because this is
Yes,
Liverani's first game, and it's against fucking Inter,
I know, but
bro.
it's Liverani was always going to have a first game. You know, you're just changing the coach constantly. You know, it just doesn't make any sense, especially with their situation right now. When the performances on the pitch were looking good with Pippo, I think they should have just fucking said, listen, it will come together. We've brought in these reinforcements. Pippo's had 1 or 2 games with these new guys. Why the hell are we sacking him? The performances are good, with Simi and Wanko up front and Boulaye Dia away at AFCON, you know, but the performances were still good. They were organized, they were compact, and they didn't get any points in that period beyond the 87th minute. It was always at the end that they lost the games. I think it was a very weird move to sack him, and then especially to bring in Liveran, who's kind of like an offensive manager who deploys a 4-2-3-1. Like, good luck with that, man. Good luck. I mean,
sure, bro, but at the end of the day, when they had the David and Nicola miracle, he was the 3rd manager of the season. I think it's kind of like a do or die period. Now, I know it's not because the relegation battle is so tight, and I agree with you in a sense. Like, if you're playing a good brand of football with fucking Boulaye Dia up front.
No, with Simi and Wankwo.
Sorry, with fucking Simi and Wankwo up front and Boulaye Dia away at AFCON, then clearly something is right. Now, the Empoli game is a bit of a tough one to judge Pippo on, because they're on fire. They're not a bottom 3 team, Empoli, anymore under David and Nicola. You know what I mean? They look insane. So they were always kind of going to get the better out of Salernitana. But it's time to start getting 3 points. And I guess a more fearless style of football could get them more goals, which could result in more points. So I guess that was their kind of mind frame with the sacking. But it is harsh to be saying I've never seen Salernitana under Pippo Inzaghi playing that bad, because it was Liverani's first game and it was against fucking Inter. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it is. It was his first game. It was against Inter. It's true, but the point does stand, bro. Like that was quite shambolic from Salernitana, man. They allowed Inter a lot of space when they shouldn't have, and I think with Pippo, it's true, they were more compact. Now, obviously, yes, he had more time to assert himself and more time to implement his system and to to transmit his philosophy to the players, and we'll see what Liverani can do once he eventually manages to get his philosophy across. At the moment, as it stands, they're 7 points away from safety, and it's not looking very good, man. They also brought in 2 promising centre-backs, right? We've addressed Boateng, but I don't think we've actually mentioned that they've brought in Manolas.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
So
the Greek god in Rome, guys.
Maybe an offensive manager and then bringing in 2 centre-back signings like that will offer a little bit of stability, or a little bit of balance, rather. Or would it have made more sense to stick with the coach who had the team looking quite tight and organised, and to give him 2 centre-backs who are of a better quality? Maybe that would have made more sense. Perhaps. I don't know. I just don't see the point. We've discussed this many times on the podcast. Why bring in Inzaghi if you're going to sack him a few games? And it's not like he's ever done anything in Serie A. He's a Serie B coach, at least when it comes to the success he has found as a manager. It's always been in Serie B. He's a great coach for Serie B. But in Serie A, it's never worked for him. We've seen him with Benevento, we've seen him with Bologna, we've seen him with Milan. It never quite worked for him. So I don't know what the point was to hire him in the first place if they weren't going to give him time. He's not going to hit the ground running because he never has hit the ground running in Serie A.
You remember when Genoa signed Shevchenko, didn't score a single goal in like 6 games and then dropped him for Blessing, and then they drew like 6 games in a row and got relegated anyway.
I remember that.
And then
Blessing
they kept
was pretty good.
Blessing, in Serie B, and he fell out with like all the players. One of them being Hamroon's goalkeeper, Marchetti.
He called him a small man on Instagram.
Called him a small man.
I love when Italians call people small man.
Hey,
it's
man.
one of
It's
the
really
hardest roasts. And they brought in Gilardino, and the rest is history.
Exactly, the rest is fucking history, man. Just to go back a bit to Inter's lack of squad rotation in this, Thuram got injured, like.
Yeah.
So I don't want to be out here praising Inzaghi for like only changing the wingers because the wingers are the only ones that are running, because they're not. It could very much be a coincidence, but these are the kind of things that happen when you're in 3 competitions. Acerbi is now injured as well, and I believe Bastoni was doubtful for this game as well. Now the January transfer market has came and went. They made the reinforcements they felt were necessary, and they do have a very thick squad, but these things can happen when you're in so many competitions, and with a thick squad I would expect him to, you know, shuffle things a little bit, especially against fucking Salernitana. Like, relax.
Yeah. Congratulations to Antonio Candreva for taking Salernitana's only shot of the match, even though it wasn't on target.
It was horrific. It was a terrible shot. But I don't think there's too much to add about this game. Thuram has also hit double figures now in his debut Serie A season. Fucking congratulations, dog. Well done. Inter absolutely flying in first place on 63 points. You know, they're now, I can't even do the maths on this anymore. They are 9 points ahead of Juve with a game in hand, which is absolutely crazy, man. Crazy.
Yeah.
Salernitana, on the other hand, they have 13, so they're, you know, quite some distance away from Inter. And yeah, 7 points from safety.
Speaking of Juve, they took on Hellas Verona away from home, and they drew 2-2. Now, the lineup for Juventus featured a 3-5-2 formation with Szczesny in goal, Danilo, Rugani and Gatti at the back, with Cambiaso on the right, Kostic on the left, Rabiot, Locatelli and McKennie in the middle, with Vlahovic and Yildiz up front. For Hellas Verona, it was a 4-2-3-1 formation with Montepò in goal, Chachua on the right, Cabal on the left, Davidovic and Magnani as a centre-back partnership, with Duda and Daniel Silva in the middle. Lazovic was out on the left, Suslov out on the right, Folorunsho was in the middle playing behind Tijani Noslin. Now in the 11th minute, Hellas Verona took the lead with a thunderous volley from Michael Folorunsho, which took our goal of the week, of course. He exploited a weak clearance and put the ball into the top left corner of Szczesny's goal, and it was incredibly struck, man. Totally scripted, that goal.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah.
In the 28th minute, Juve managed to equalize from the penalty spot after Jackson Chachua accidentally blocked a Filip Kostic shot with his hand in the box. Vlahovic converted the penalty, marking the first away fixture for Juventus since September, where both teams have scored.
Wow.
Yeah. At halftime, the momentum shifted in favour of Hellas Verona, who quickly retook the lead thanks to Tijani Noslin, who scored his first goal with Udinese, despite playing, I think, 4 games now. It was
with Verona.
With Verona, sorry, yes. 2 very similar teams. He had a very smart run. He made a very smart run. It was funny to see 2 players who were on the ball before it eventually fell to Noslin, both diving, trying to win a free kick. You know, I think that might have played a part with the goal, because Szczesny must have been like, one of those must be a foul. You know, is he going to whistle for that? Boom! Suddenly he's getting beaten at his near post. He joined from a team called Fortuna Sittard.
Oh my god.
Yeah, Noslin. Don't ask me where they're from. In an instant response, Juve capitalized on defensive disarray as Rabiot scored, leveling the score again after Locatelli's cross found him with plenty of time to pick out the bottom right corner. During the closing stages of the match, Juve kept pushing. It was Chiesa who had 2 good opportunities to equalize, the last one coming in the 91st minute when new boy Alcaraz played him through, but Montepò pulled off a brilliant one-on-one save And then I believe in the 96th minute, Alcaraz took a free kick himself, but shot it straight at the goalkeeper, and that was full time. Szczesny, this game, bro, just to show you how even this game was. Szczesny had a season high record 7 saves for himself, personal record. So Verona were actually all over them, man, and I'm so surprised by this Verona side, and I'm sure the listeners would guess that I'm surprised too, because we've been talking about how Hellas Verona have just been selling everyone. It's a fire sale at Hellas Verona, but somehow, man, they're still a good side. Somehow they're still solid, they're still organized. Baroni is doing God's work with this team, man.
They're well run by their manager. The manager knows how to get the best out of the 11 men that he places on the pitch, and he knows how to play to their strengths. He's very fortunate that Michael Folorunshaw took an absolute turn for the better, because he's been a superstar, grabbing a goal and an assist in this game. But he's got players like Duda playing fantastic football. Like Duda had such a clean performance in this game. It's not easy going up against 3 midfielders like McKennie, Locatelli and Rabiot, but Duda to me was one of the standout performers over there. He had a pass success rate of 82%. He got himself 2 tackles and even had a crack at goal at the point, but controlled that midfield for Verona.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It was an all-round even performance. Of course, possession stats, of course, Juve leading ever so slightly in every department, 56% ball possession. They had an XG of 1.47 compared to Hellas Verona's 0.66, for those of you who enjoy the XG philosophy. I know many of our patrons don't. 4 shots on target for Juventus, 9 for Hellas Verona, with Szczesny saving 7 of them, man. It was a very tight game, a heated game.
They look shell-shocked.
Juve, man, let me tell you, I think that the reason Juve were pushing for the league and the reason why they were even in a position to challenge for it was because they believed. And if that squad believes, Allegri can do just enough to get the best out of them.
Look, if that squad believes, that squad achieves.
There we go. But they lost to Inter, and it was almost like a reality check. They looked distraught after the game. And ever since, they haven't really had that spirit and that determination and desire and belief that they had earlier before that loss to Inter. I think they've almost given up on the league. I think they've realized we aren't good enough to win this, and they haven't accepted how to go on without it.
It's like literally shell-shocked is a good word. And I don't think it was the result that threw them off, but I think those 11 players being on the pitch with those other 11 players and thinking, like, they're so far ahead of us. Like, we
play the same sport as
we
these
can't
guys.
keep up with these guys. And I think it was more like the players were like, Jesus Christ, like we are not fit to win this league.
Absolutely, man. And Allegri needs his team to believe, because that was like 90% of what Juve was about this season.
All right, Ted Lasso.
most of their goals came at the end of games. They would concede after parking the bus. How many times we say this? Juve sat back, they conceded, and then they scored again immediately after. That's because they're hungry, they believe, they have the desire. Now it's weird, man. I don't think Allegri can motivate these guys, and I think, to be honest, they're playing once a week and they're thinking to themselves, what's the point?
Did you see there's some billboard in New York or something?
Yes, Allegri out.
I mean, like, isn't that a bit of a waste of money, isn't he?
That's what I was about to tell you.
Because he's off in summer.
Yeah, that's a good idea. If you want the manager of Turin-based Juventus out, put a billboard up in New York. Why not? Now we'll put up a spotlight poster in the Philippines, bro.
Exactly. Great.
Shout out to our listeners from the Philippines. I don't think we have any.
Actually. I don't know. We'll need to check.
Yeah, we'll have to check that out.
I'm sure there's one homie in the Philippines.
Yeah. One thing I found interesting about Hellas Verona's approach was that Darko Lazovic is often isolated and very pushed up. And the other flank play very, very closely together, and they almost seem to look to him as an outlet. Kind of like the same thing Inter do with Dumfries, but it's always Lazovic. And Lazovic is always the furthest player.
So Lazovic is always kept in heaps of space.
Exactly.
Basically.
He's always trying to stretch the game. Always. And I was looking at Juve's heat map as well, and I noticed that Rabiot took the most advanced position of them all, even more advanced than Vlahovic for the entire game. Yeah, just goes to show, right?
Yeah,
a little bit weird there. I don't know if there's much else to say about this game. Juve got close at the end. The bench thought that Chiesa had scored when he came one-on-one with the goalkeeper, with Montepò. You can see from the replay, they started running onto the pitch, and then they realized Montepò saved it, and they instantly everyone touches their head.
Yeah.
Which is quite a comical sight, to be honest.
Chiesa, flop of the season so far.
Chiesa works so hard. He works so bloody hard, and it's just not working for him. And
no.
It might be a combination of many different things, man. Is he ever fully fit? Is he...
It's the question of, is he ever going to live up to this fucking crazy potential? Because season after season, he's showing us 30% of what he's capable of. Because he is glass. Because he is never fully fit and running this team. It's always like the first 3 games of the season, he's the one charging forward, creating chances. And then, he gets a bit of a knock, and then Allegri keeps him out for another 2 games, and he starts bringing him on, and he starts starting someone else. It's always the same cycle with Chiesa's career at Juventus, unfortunately.
Yeah, and he's 26 nowadays, man. So he doesn't really have that much time as an explosive winger to, cement himself in this Juve team as a starter. I mean... His play style, as we've mentioned many times over here, warrants many injuries, many challenges, many hard tackles as well. It's hard, painful tackles. And we've addressed, something's going to have to change, man.
We're going to need to create a petition. This is what I want to do with Chiesa. Start a petition to preserve him and just let him play for the national team every 2 years.
Only.
So that he's fit for every Euros and that he's fit for every World Cup. Because on the international stage, the guy is insane. He's insane for Italy. Unfortunately, same can't be said for his club career.
Yeah, and at the moment, there are many Italians who are doing quite well.
Yeah.
Especially on the wing. So his position as starting place isn't even guaranteed for the Italian national team as it stands, man. Chiesa. But I'm also curious to see what he would look like under a different coach, because let's remember he's playing Allegri ball here. So maybe under a more positive manager, he might
imagine him under a De Zerbi,
he might
for
have
example.
more support, because right now a lot of the things he tries to do, he's in isolation attempting them.
Yeah.
But Juve are currently second because Milan choked. And they couldn't overtake them despite them dropping points. They're on 54 points, while Hellas Verona have momentarily climbed out of the relegation pool and are in 17th spot with 20 points. Below them, Sassuolo also on 20 points.
Madonna.
Sassuolo have fallen into the relegation pool.
Madonna.
Granted, they do have a game in hand.
Madonna.
So we'll see.
Jesus, as if they're gonna win their game. It's against one of the beasts, if I'm not mistaken. One of the monsters.
I think it might be tomorrow. I think their game in hand might be tomorrow. I'm just pulling that up very quickly because I saw Serie tomorrow.
Oh my god.
Serie, no, there's Torino-Lazio tomorrow.
Torino-Lazio
is tomorrow. That's
very
cool. Very nice.
Very nice. The next game, Monza 4, Milan 2. This was Milan's opportunity to overtake Juve. It was clearly stated by Pioli that this was Milan's goal. It's to jump Juve and get as close as possible to Inter. However, obviously, that didn't work. Monza were coming off a 0-0 home draw to Verona, whilst Milan were coming off a 1-0 win versus Napoli and a Thursday night 3-0 thrashing of Rennes. The previous encounter was a 3-0 victory for Milan. This had a Milan victory written all fucking over it. Coming off 2 clean sheets, a win over Napoli, a win against Rennes, winning the previous encounter 3-0. Monza coming off a fucking home draw to Verona. This had a Milan win literally written all over it. Now, they knew a win would allow them to leapfrog Juventus second, but they made 6 changes to their starting 11 because it's never like, medium rare with Pioli. It's either all out or nothing. Naturally, they made these changes with the midweek Europa League clash in mind. This included the return of Malik Chow after pulling his hamstring on November 28th. Calabria, Tomori, Kalulu and Pobega were out of action, while the host missed Churia, Caprari and Vignato. Starting 11s, it was a 3-4-2-1 formation for Monza, Di Gregorio in goal not for long, with a backline of Carboni, Mari and Izzo, Mota out on the left, Birindelli out on the right, and a midfield 2 of Gagliardini and Pessina, with Carboni and Colpani flanking the formidable Juric. For Milan, it was a 4-2-3-1 formation with Mike Magnan in goal, Florenzi out on the right, Teo Hernandez out on the left with Gabbia and Chow as the back 2. Benasser and Adli were in the double pivot with Chukwueze, Loftus-Cheek and Okafor playing behind Jovic. So off the bat, let me just start the conversation here. What do you make of the lineup by Milan?
Fair enough. That's what I make of the lineup. I think that, so Juve drop points and Milan are in a position to overtake them. Inter's lead is still healthy, but you have to believe. These are the players that the management has given Pioli to use and to utilize. They have all been unavailable for different reasons, to be honest. Jovic started off the season terribly. Chukwueze couldn't dribble a bloody, cone like at the beginning of the season, and then he went off to AFCON, made it all the way to the final and came back, and he still can't seem to get going. Okafor has scored goals, but when it comes to his wing play, it hasn't been consistent enough, and he's also struggled with injuries. Chow has been out, but if you're gonna bring Chow back into a game and to give Chow a game to get his form back, this is the game, to get his match fitness up. So I think, these are the men Pioli has at hand. Pioli wanted to go out in the second leg against Rennes with the strongest possible starting 11. And fair enough, you rotate. These players are meant to be our depth options,
I disagree!
You disagree?
Yes.
Tell me. So you think you should have gone full squad and rested against Rennes?
No, relax. I didn't want him to go full squad and let everyone get injured. But if in the game against Rennes, or Stimpy, or whatever the fuck we're gonna call them, alright? Drop Giroud from that game. Start Jovic, for example. That gives you the opportunity that in the game against Monza, Chukwueze and Okafor actually have a familiar outlet that is going to help them link up play and give the team some element of familiarity, because I don't think I've ever seen Chukwueze, Jovic and Okafor start a game together aside from this game. You're just putting, in a not a do or die game, I don't want to be dramatic, but you're putting these guys together for the first time and saying, because you're the players I have, you're this is squad rotation, just drop and plug and play. But it's not as simple as that. You don't just put 3 forward players together for the first time and expect a win.
I don't know. I think these guys have been here for long enough to have
put in.
Yes, but the season, it's been a while. Think about it. These guys are training together every single day, man. And if it comes to a point where you're beyond Matchday 20 and you can't feel them together because they don't know each other, then I'm not quite sure when they're going to know each other.
But if Pioli, for 8 games or whatever it was in a row, let's say 6 so I don't exaggerate, for 6 games in a row, fielded the exact win, lose or draw, fielded the exact same starting 11 with 0 changes made. Milan suddenly are a win away from overtaking Juve. He makes 6 changes. And it's not strategic changes. It's let's take this first team and put them all in one basket against Rennes. Okay, they were beating Rennes. They made the changes. Then they came into this. It's like, and at the totally new faces in the team with no familiarity whatsoever.
The thing is, it would have all gone to plan probably for Pioli, because when he brought in his boys in the second half, they changed it round. The problem was that one of the boys who fucking started in Luka Jovic got sent off for lashing out.
Wait, because we'll get into that.
But that's a massive point. That's a big part of the game, because if
they were
Milan,
2-0 down already.
Yes,
they were
it's
2-0
true.
down before half-time.
But then with 10 men in the second half, they managed to equalize, to get them 2-2. You don't think that maybe with 11 men and a proper striker on the pitch, they would have won this game? They might have. There was a good chance of doing so. Pioli had no control over Xiao's mistakes. You know, Xiao was the one rotation piece I think that no one could argue with, because Kier has looked terrible lately. We saw last game where, like, Jesus Christ, that attempt of a tackle on Kvaratskhelia was embarrassing.
Hilarious.
And you bring in Xiao, of course, who we all know what his standard is. We all know that he has been very good for Milan. This was a game to throw him in. He let him down. You know, there's not much else to say. I don't know if the approach was wrong from the get-go. I'm not sure I agree with that.
I mean, to be honest, I find it hard to believe that this isn't talked about enough. The way, like, sure, the players let him down. Yes, there were multiple individual errors. Xiao, Jovic, like, both of them, to be honest, deserve a rating of -3.
Oh, Adli was terrible
opinion.
as well. He really didn't step up, man.
Adli was shit as well. But the thing is, Milan couldn't rely on any familiar faces. Why? Because 1 second, Pioli's making 0 changes to the starting 11 for 8 games in a row, or whatever the fuck the number is. And then all of a sudden, 6 changes. Whoa.
Yes, but Pioli has given Milan, at the end of the day, what was the objective for Milan this season?
I guess qualify for Champions League, but I think I think going into the season, Milan would have expected more.
Maybe.
With the new players to their arsenal.
Maybe, okay. But the main objective, the most important thing, was top 4. And Pioli put Milan in a position where they had a comfortable gap between them and the team in 5th place by fielding that exact same 11 8 times in a row, without rotating, without any nonsense. He just played the best 11 in a row that he had available, and he took the team on a good run, and suddenly they found themselves in a position with a bit of breathing room. The Europa League clash came. That's a trophy that Milan are serious contenders for. They're one of the favourites in the tournament. So he gave the supporting cast a tryout. They didn't deliver. He tried to fix it, to correct it by bringing on the big boys, but one of his starters let him down. And I think it's as simple as that, this game. I don't know if it was a problem with approach. I think the players literally let everyone down this game.
I think it's a bit of both. Don't forget that Milan were down 2-0. They were down 2-0 before the second half, and before Jovic got the red card.
Why were they down 2-0?
It was individual errors, sure, but did you see Milan going forward in the first half?
Yes, but again, what I saw was Adli not connecting his passes properly, Jovic invisible, Chukwueze had, I think, one moment where he attempted to like charge down the right side and didn't really do much.
Do you not nail that down to unfamiliarity though? Because that's what I nail it down to.
It might be. I just think that it's just they're not too standard at the moment.
Look, the players definitely let Pioli down. This could have been an alright risk to take had the players performed better, 100%. But I am concerned. It's not because Milan failed to overtake Juve, but what's going to happen? Milan advance to the quarterfinals, to the semi-finals, whatever. Is this going to be the system? Are they going to be 2 completely separate squads that are competing in 2 completely separate competitions? It needs to be a bit more sustainable. It needs to be, sure, let's start Leao and Pulisic in Europe. Let's put Jovic between them. Let's save Giroud's legs for this game because top 4 is important.
Jovic hasn't had a good performance as a striker this season. As a starter, this season.
That's true.
Not a single. Sad. The last time he started a game, I believe, was against Atalanta in the Cup, and he was atrocious. He's only found success coming off the bench at the moment. So I don't know if it would be wise to go into a European fixture with him as a striker, even though now Jovic has forced Pioli's hand. So because he's going to have to start the next game.
Exactly.
Because you're going to have to rest Giroud. You have this guy unavailable for two games. You start Jovic, eh?
But you're saying Jovic is a shit starter, so just...
But this is the hand...
Throw him into the starting 11 in a Serie A game.
Okay, in a Serie A game, yes, because this was the game where he could find his footing. Monza, not Juan, simply. This is the level where you get him to hit the ground running as a starter.
Jovic was very impressive with Fiorentina in Europe last year, and I think just because he hasn't had a good performance as a starter doesn't mean he's ever going to have a good performance as a starter. Let's get into the play-by-play so that people know what the actual fuck we're talking about. In the 30th minute, Juric almost scored a fantastic header to open the scoring. It was a header from distance, but it hit the outside of the post. Moments later, there was a horrific collision between Di Gregorio and Andrea Carboni as the keeper dove out to intercept a cross and collided into the defender. The collision left Di Gregorio completely delirious and totally dizzy and with a huge black eye. He was replaced by Sorrentino after a very lengthy stoppage. This was horrible news for Monza and at the time fantastic news for Milan. However,
did you see the picture of Di Gregorio?
Bro, he honestly looks like he got in the ring against Francis Ngannou, like, bro. It was really brave the way he got out as well. It wasn't even the first the first knock he got in this game.
And cheeky Theo just ducking out of the way as two of their players collided.
Theo could have gotten it terribly, bro. Yeah. Terribly he could have gotten, because he was between them, but he ducked. I love Theo so much. In the 44th minute, and then just before half-time, Pessina, obviously that is the first ex that scored against Milan in this game. From the penalty spot, he sent Magnan the wrong way. The penalty was awarded after two very reckless and clumsy challenges in under 5 seconds by Malik Chow. First, he brought down Juric just outside the area with a horribly timed tackle, and then sprinted directly to Dani Mota and clarted into him inside the area, and he gave away a penalty. Honestly, it was a moment of absolute madness for Malik Chow, and Pessina actually stepped up, no problem whatsoever. Obviously, there were 8 minutes of added time because of what happened to Di Gregorio, and in the in the 50th minute, Dani Mota scored. Monza knocked the ball forward, which was firstly misjudged by Bennacer. He failed to deal with it. Colpani collected it, and he nutmegged Chow, just like Chow. Played the ball to Mota, who set himself up and curled the ball into the far corner. I'm not going to go so far as to say that this was also Chow's fault because he got nutmegged, but roasted, he got nutmegged. Yeah. You know what I mean? He wasn't patient in defending over there, and once they bypassed him, that was a 1v1 situation between Florenzi and Dani Mota, an on-form Dani Mota.
And Dani Mota, you never know if he's going to go right or left. He's cut inside, he's cut on the outside, he's taking it to the byline, and he can shoot with both his right and his left in those situations. So Florenzi was... It was justifiable that he was confused in that situation, because honestly, if he would have gone to block the cut-in shot, he would have just gone round and slotted it past. Yeah.
Just one thing, I want to congratulate Dani Mota, honestly, because if his goal is to make every Milan fan's blood boil and get so angry they don't know what to do with themselves with that celebration, good job, bro. Good job, because when I'm devastated, the worst thing you can do to me is look me in the eyes and go, nah, 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 and stick your tongue out at me. I was going mad, bro. Mad I was going. But anyway, so Milan have their team talking. Pioli's like, fuck, guys, come on. We need to go out there and fucking get them. They're like, yeah. So in the 51st minute, Jovic went out and fucking punched Itzo in the face. A VAR check turned a yellow card into a red card. So he was spotted, not punching him, but he maliciously swung his palm into the face of Itzo. It was very clear.
Right, he made fingertip contact with Itzo.
He swung.
No, he definitely swung.
It was
definitely
malicious.
A red card. It's violent conduct, but
yes.
He didn't connect with him. Properly, at least. I kind of wish he did.
Yeah.
And let's talk about the provocation before. Because Mari was provoking him before. He pushed him. Mari pushed Jovic. Jovic swung at Itzo, but it was Mari who pushed him.
Oh my god.
That was like the whole incident of me at Chiswick, if you remember. There's an inside joke between me and Matthew. I can't say it here. But yeah. But yeah, so I don't know if maybe it would have been fair take the whole situation into account. But you're well within your rights to shove a player, but swiping at someone's face or trying to slap
It's
or punch
dumb.
someone, that's
dumb.
just violent conduct.
It's
It's
dumb.
malicious. It's stupid.
And Jovic was... There are so many words I can't use on this podcast to describe how stupid it is what Jovic did over there and how he let his teammates down. From hero to zero, to say the least.
From zero to hero to zero.
Yeah, from zero to hero, back to zero. Yeah. And it's going to take a lot to get back to...
No, tomorrow night, hero again, bro.
Come on, Jovic. 64th minute, Milan got one back through Giroud. This was when, Giroud came on, Leao came on, Pulisic came on. Because that's the thing, fixing the initial... Like it's when Milan need a win, they just bring these three guys on. It was a Florenzi cross that was flicked on by Pulisic to Giroud, who scored after extending well and finishing into the far corner. Milan kept the momentum up. They were constantly chasing that equalizer, and in the 87th minute, 10-man Milan actually managed to get an equalizer through an exquisite Pulisic goal as he cut inside the area. Fucking 10 men in the box defending. He cut inside the area and curled the ball into the top corner brilliantly. Excellent goal, and it was one thing that maybe goes under the radar. What a fucking tight angle it was from. It was very, very tight. And by the way he curled it around, chef's kiss, and Pulisic was the best player on the pitch.
That's what I was gonna say. When you saw the personnel that Milan brought on, you see the likes of Leao, Giroud, and Pulisic. You're like, okay, Milan's best players.
It's like the Avengers.
Yeah, Leao was on. Leao was on, the highest earner, the star of the team. Leao didn't shoulder the responsibility that he had to shoulder this game. Granted, it was against a low block, and we know that goes against all his strengths. But Pulisic, man, really put on a display this game, and he really showed that he's the main man for his national team.
Exactly,
and
what
that
I was going to say.
He was the main man for Dortmund for a while, and he was even the main man for Chelsea at a point in his career. He's used to shouldering the responsibility, and Leao, quite frankly, maybe might not be it.
Yeah, no, Pulisic is a huge character. He's a huge character. I mean, what he does for the US with that captain's armband, we all know, right? The US, they're improving when it comes to football. But Pulisic is the key player in that team, and the amount of times he has bailed them out single fucking handedly, and this is exactly what he was doing for Milan in this game. Even the Giroud goal, that flick on was perfect, and he was calling for it. He orchestrated that. He played the ball to the wing, ran to the box. He's like, hey, play it here,
Play it here, man.
Play it here, bro. And he
pass me the goddamn soccer ball.
Yeah. So what happens? Milan get the equalizer. The commentator's like, will they go for the win? Will they go for the win? Pulisic is holding the ball, telling everyone, look, calm down. I'm seeing you all riled up. Relax, we got the equalizer. Let's fucking keep it or whatever. 2 minutes later, Milan are fucking attacking. They're attacking to try get the win because momentum favors Milan. 10-man Milan. And Bondo scores. Milan... This is what I wrote. Milan carelessly surged forward to find a winner. Daniel Maldini, loaned out from Milan to Monza, broke forward, laid the ball off to Bondo, who struck the ball into the top corner from just outside the area. What a hit by Bondo. And there you go, an assist by Daniel Maldini, owned by Milan, to make matters worse. But 89th minute, Monza regained their victory 3-2, so shortly lived that Milan hoped. 95th minute, as if the fucking heartbreak wasn't enough. Milan fought back. 10-man Milan fought back to make it 2-2. Went for the winner. Daniel Maldini assisted Bondo, and Milan fall behind. 95th minute. Monza in a 5v3 situation. Pessina on the ball. Plays it to Colombo, loaned out from Milan to Monza, who beat Magnan at his near post.
Yeah, man.
Shoot me in the fucking dick. Pessina. Now, Pessina's not, he played with Milan once upon a time in a piece of cherry wood. But Daniel Maldini with the assist, owned by Milan, Colombo with the goal, owned by Milan. This was, as a Milan fan, and I'm sorry I'm wearing it at the forefront of my personality over here, but this one was fucking crazy, bro. This one was... only Milan can go through something like that in this league. Only Milan.
The best part is Monza in their history had never beaten Milan. That's another thing as well, obviously. That this is so the perfect type of game. It had everything, man. It had absolutely everything. It had my favorite part of this game was going from, oh my god, we're not going to get anything, to, oh my god, we've equalized, we can potentially get 3 points, to, oh my god, please, let's get 1 point. And then to shit our children.
And then it's, oh my god, please stop fucking me.
Yeah, exactly.
Everyone stop fucking me, please. Let's just start off. Malik Chow returned. And unfortunately, he was absolutely dreadful, bro. Gave away the penalty, and thing is, anyone can give away a penalty by accident. Virgil van Dijk, Maldini, the greats have given away penalties. But the challenges, you saw them. You saw them. The first one on Juric, horrible. And everyone was like, hey!
He got away with it.
Fucking clarted. He clarted into, I believe it was Mota.
The problem with Chow, the most concerning part is that physically he was up for it. Physically he looked brighter, he looked better than ever.
But Ringras,
he was even the recovery to go from Juric to Danny Mota, if it was Danny Mota, as the last man. That the way he covered that ground was impressive. You know, he's in great shape, but mentally, man, yeah, definitely a lot of Ringras, man, mentally.
Yeah,
because he was always a step behind. He looked lost, man. Gabbia looked so much better than him. He
Absolutely.
looked so like a mature head, man. And let's not forget, by the way, bro, Gabbia. I just need to say this before I forget because I don't have this written anywhere. At one point, Leao got the ball, and he tried to just kind of touch it ever so slightly so it moves slightly in front of him, and the player gets it, but obviously his teammate wasn't expecting it, and it was nicked. They nicked the ball, Monza, and they advanced, and Gabbia was forced to kick the man. Remember, he kicked the player in the knee. The camera pans to Gabbia, who's getting a yellow card, and he says superficiale cazzo to Leao, which means superficial dick, you know, like fuck. Or fucking superficial would be the most accurate translation. When you have the leader of the team like Leao, like I said, he's meant to be the leader, he's meant to be the best player, and then you have a player who was sent out on loan to Villarreal and only recalled because there's an emergency, and he's shouting and telling him off because of his immature decision. That's very telling. That's all I want to say.
Yeah, I think so, and I think that was when I believe Milan had already equalized, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes. Milan had already equalized when that happened.
And it was careless play by Leao, and obviously he wasn't the only one. Let's be real. But you're absolutely right. Gabbia has come in. He was forced to become a veteran of this team, which he is, because he's been with Milan since he was 3.5, bro. He's been with Milan since 3.5. This guy. So yeah, he was loaned out to Villarreal because he's nowhere on the level, at least they thought, of Kier, Tomori, Kalulu and co. But he's come in and he's become a veteran. He's become a leader, and he's really showing what he's all about. Yeah. He didn't bug me in this game either, man.
No at all.
Jovic, what an absolute twat.
Yeah. Alan made me laugh. I'm gonna find it and I'm gonna read it. I don't know if how long it will take me, but bear with me, please.
It was rage typing, to say the least.
Well, give me a keyword. Let me search for it. He said something face. I think he said face at one point.
I'm quite sure he wants to do something to his face.
Yes, Alan, when it happened, when Jovic got the red, I fucking hate this sport. Fucking idiot. I don't want to see that stupid face of his ever again. Murphy's Law. Fuck everything. Oh my god, man. That was just too good.
It was a tough one to digest by Milan, but I think that there is one thing footballers take for granted when they get a big move, when they represent clubs, is that footballing ability and performances is a massive part to how you are welcomed at a club, and it dictates your status at a club. But then there's something, and I would consider this to be as high as 30%, as being a representative, especially for clubs like Milan, a representative of a historic, what's the word, massive entity of a football team. To wear that shirt, you have to ensure tip-top professionality the entire time.
Yes, man.
Tip-top sportsmanship, discipline, and this is the bare minimum that can be provided. Now you're 2-0 down. You're on the pitch as the striker, as the guy who's supposed to get the goals, and you've already shown that you can do it. And you go ahead and lose your head like that because some tall, handsome guy, who, by the way, Milan were running rings around Mari, particularly Pulisic when he came on. Rings he was running around Mari.
Yeah.
He is nothing special because Mari hurt your feelings. You can slap it so on the face, which is a weird thing to do, by the way.
Yeah.
But
he gave him exactly what he wanted. That's what I find so idiotic about this. It's like Jovic is in a position that this guy grew up playing football in Serbia.
Yeah.
In Serbia.
Yeah.
God knows the provocation he dealt with coming up in the lower leagues or whatever at youth level in Serbia, because he's dealt with many hard men over there.
He's probably got a lot of shithousery up his sleeve as well, Jovic.
The thing is, Mari obviously wanted only one thing from this incident. He wanted to get Jovic. He wanted a reaction out of Jovic, to get a yellow card, hopefully a red. If he's dumb enough to react, he'll get a red. If he's dumb enough to react properly, like how he wishes to react.
Yeah.
And Luka Jovic gave it to him. And that's it. Yeah, unfortunately.
So we know where Milan fell short.
Yes.
We discussed that. Just one more thing is that Milan have received 6 red cards this season, which is pretty crazy. 6 red cards.
It is. So it's definitely a coaching problem, I think that.
Yeah.
Because you need to have harsher either philosophy when it comes, like a straight up philosophy when it comes to red cards. Like only get them if absolutely necessary, you know, and like fines if they're stupid, something. Put something in place. Stop your fucking players from getting red cards, man. Because it's become ridiculous. 6 red cards in a season. Every 4 games, Milan get a red card.
Which lost Milan the game, and obviously that goes under the radar.
Yeah.
Enough about Milan. Monza did a spectacular job at capitalizing from these errors.
Yeah.
And Monza are great at counter-attacking football. They could really attack fluidly. They go from defense into attack in a matter of seconds, okay? They haven't consistently shown it, but for a team like Milan who hold on to possession so much and attack so much, Monza really managed to use this to their advantage. So they were winning the ball, they were counter-attacking, they were charging forward, and I think they did that flawlessly. They were defending in numbers. I don't think they defended particularly insanely. It's not like they were impenetrable, but obviously they got a helping hand maybe from the starting 11 and from the early and from the sending off naturally. But what did you make of Monza in this game?
No, good job to Monza. They showed up. They really took advantage of the fact that Milan didn't get going in the first half. And not only did they score, but they scored twice, and they managed to create a nice advantage for themselves. They were very street smart to force a reaction off of Jovic. They dealt with the fact that Di Gregorio, a vital piece of their system, went off injured, and they somehow managed to survive. Granted, Sorrentino came on and conceded 2 goals, but once again they reacted well. I don't think their approach of trying to defend the 2-0 lead worked out, and I think they could have regretted that, because they could have definitely pushed and tried to cause a few more problems for Milan, but it all worked out well for them in the end. And I think that this is a nice team with a good coach.
Yeah. The youngest coach in Serie A as well, by the 39 years old. That's fucking
wild.
young. It's 39 years old, and I think he's the only one that wears a full suit. Well,
should
him and
play
him
up
and
front
Simone.
for Milan.
Yeah, literally.
By the way, Milan played against Rennes, right?
Yeah.
Did you notice who Rennes had in goal? Rennes had Steve Mandanda in goal.
Yes, we spoke about this. I'm like, how is he not 50 yet?
He's
Like,
38 years old.
how is he
nowadays.
38 if he's been 40 for 10 years? Like,
Giroud scored his first professional goal against Mandanda. And they
That's
played against each other a few
crazy.
days ago.
that's crazy. Wow, what a sweet reunion.
Hey, sweet reunion for the veterans.
Yeah. That was Milan's first loss of 2024. However, they maintain third place at least on 52 points. They are 2 points behind Juve, whilst Monza in 11th place on 33 points. And they're on decent form now. They are unbeaten in their last 4 after losing 2 on the trot before that.
Yeah, we should have left that Milan game till the end, man. I'm riled up.
Yeah, I'm in a bad mood.
I'm in a bad mood. Atalanta 3, Sassuolo 0.
Skip.
Skip. Atalanta good, Sassuolo bad. Next. Carnesecchi was in goal for Atalanta with Scalvini, Jim City and Kolasinac at the back in their 3-4-1-2 formation. Emil Holm was out on the right, Davide Zappacosta on the left. Ederson and Pasalic were in the middle with Coop Miners playing behind Miranchuk and De Ketelare. For Sassuolo, it was a 4-2-3-1 formation with Andrea Consigli in goal, Josh Doig as the left back, Marcus Pedersen as the right back, Viti and Ruan as a centre back duo with Henrique and Lepani playing in midfield, Lauriente and Bayrami playing on the flanks with Pinamonti starting up front and Thordsvet playing behind him. Now Atalanta continued their impressive form, securing a 6th consecutive league victory and strengthening their pursuit for top 4. Roma are on their ass, but they're definitely looking like favourites right now, Atalanta, for that top 4 spot.
Without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah, Sassuolo, on the other hand, faced yet another setback, extending their winless streak to 5 games.
Congratulations.
Celebrate. Midway through the first half, Atalanta seized the lead when Mario Pasalic capitalized on a spill by Sassuolo goalkeeper Andrea Consigli. How unlike him, how weird. Putting the Nerazzurri firmly in control. Despite Sassuolo's attempt to equalize with Mateus Henrique's deflected shot hitting the crossbar, Atalanta maintained their advantage. Okay, so Atalanta pretty much had it all figured out from the get-go. Just before halftime, Sassuolo had a golden opportunity to level the score after a handball by Giorgio Scalvini. This was literally at the end of the first half, and the referee was about to whistle to blow the final whistle. He had the whistle in his mouth and everything, but he went to the VAR monitor and he gave a penalty. Now, the first penalty, Pinamonti stepped up, Pinamonti went right, Carnesecchi went right and saved it. Kolasinac ran to the ball and cleared it, but it turned out Kolasinac had encroached. He had entered the area too early, and a retake was given. Pinamonti stepped up again, and now there's the whole psychological battle. I've gone right, and he went right, and he saved it. Should I go right again? Should I go left? Should I go down the middle? He went kind of central left.
Yeah.
Central left.
He would have tried to go left.
Yeah, and Carnesecchi read him like a book again and saved it again. How absolutely humiliating and devastating for Pinamonti, but what a rush for Carnesecchi.
How incredible by Carnesecchi.
Incredible by Carnesecchi.
For me, how old is he? 22 years old?
23, I believe.
Carnesecchi
is
23 years old.
Yeah.
And obviously, he's a physical freak of nature and he's a good shot stopper. Maybe his distribution and the way he controls his area as a young goalkeeper still needs a certain element of work. But clearly, man, one of the most important things for a goalkeeper is that mentally you can read your opponent and you're cool, calm and collected under pressure. Now, I know there's more pressure on the shoulders of the person stepping up to take the penalties. Penalty shootouts and penalties in general aren't too bad for goalkeepers in that sense. But Carnesecchi to stop 2 penalties in a row like that, amazing. He read him like a book, man.
Yeah, if his nickname was Magic, he'd be asking for 8 million a season. In the second half, Atalanta extended their lead as Coop Miners scored their second with a first-time finish into the top corner, demoralizing Sassuolo even further. Substitute Michel Bakker sealed the victory in the 75th minute with a heavily deflected effort from outside the box. just a minute after coming off, and it deflected off Marcus Pedersen, by the way, because I wrote down Sassuolo 3 over here. Yeah, plain sailing for Atalanta. Had that penalty gone in, I'm sure they would have recovered in the second half, because as it stands right now, they've got so much firepower, Atalanta. This goalkeeper is a freak. We've been following him for a while. We even posted a TikTok video of him with the song "Fly Like an Eagle" playing in the background when he was playing in Serie B.
Yeah,
he's a very, very good talent.
When he, you remember the Meet the Boys episode where it
Boys.
was like Meet the Boys,
With the
Love Island, dude. At the front, the cover of the artwork. This was the first episode of season 2, the throwback. It was him with a shirt open, sitting down, posing like it was like
all oiled up.
Season 2, episode 1, Meet the Boys, and a really sus photo of Kardasaki. Insane.
Yeah. Consigli, man, how is he still playing? He's a good shot stopper. He's a good shot stopper, Consigli. Don't get me wrong. And even this game, he managed to pull off a save that made the highlights of the best saves of the week.
Yeah, it was okay.
It was okay. It was one of those where he dropped down and cleared it with his foot.
It was a Buffon at Parma save.
Yeah.
There's a category of those saves.
Yeah, absolutely. He pulls off, but he does make these saves. He's not a bad shot stopper.
He's had some good showings this season.
He is error prone, man, and he's blunder prone, not just error prone, blunder prone.
Fits in.
Yeah, he fits Sassuolo's system perfectly, because apparently that's something they prioritize. Cranio is there on the bench. God knows what's been going on with Cranio, because the last time we saw him, so he was a regular at Cagliari, rated as one of the best goalkeepers in the league. He went to Monza, couldn't get a sniff because of Di Gregorio. Understandable. Eventually got a sniff, conceded 3, looked weird, never featured again. Came to Sassuolo, and now we're saying, okay, Cranio's definitely going to play at Sassuolo because Consigli is washed, right?
Yeah, they're not just going to get Cranio, just get Cranio, you know.
A good name, a well-known goalkeeper in Italy. But again, he hasn't had a sniff, man. And Consigli continues to wreak havoc in goal. Yes.
Cranio's 29 years old. He is missing the prime time of his career, man, this guy.
Absolutely, man. Do you think that... Okay, let's play a game, bro, right now. If Sassuolo got relegated, who would leave?
Who would leave?
Actually, who would leave? Yes, who would definitely leave?
Everyone. Everyone would leave.
Everyone except Ruan.
I think Ruan would leave. I think, bro, they have too good a team for anyone to play in Serie B.
That, but let's remember Nathan Nandez, who we thought was too good for Serie B, did 2 years there with Cagliari.
Dennis Mann for Parma.
There. Exactly. So many players, even Mihaila for Parma, stayed there for a while.
Lauriente.
Yeah, too good.
Serie A, he'll probably move overseas. Pinamonti, I believe he's owned by Inter.
I think no. Sassuolo bought him. Yes.
He leaves.
He will
even
leave
though Pinamonti, a season in Serie B will not do him bad.
It will probably be great for his career and development, but he'll probably join like one of the newly promoted teams and do that for a while, and eventually turn into like Bonazzoli.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe.
Because that was the trajectory Bonazzoli took.
Berardi will leave.
Obviously.
I can't believe he's still there, kind of thing.
Bayrami, Thordsvet, they leave as well, you know.
Bayrami and Thordsvet leave. Enrique leaves. Doig leaves. Viti Tresoldi leave. But I genuinely think they all leave.
They'll have to rebuild or play with a bunch of youngsters.
Mulattieri stays it's what he's used to.
Youth system.
Yeah.
Mulattieri probably stays, you know.
Ferrari, maybe Lepani.
But yeah, absolutely devastating stuff by Atalanta, destroying absolutely everyone in their path.
Atalanta are the second best team in the league at the moment, hands down.
And I heard a guy say that Gasperini is like Sir Alex Ferguson in the way that like
no way.
New boys come up and he develops them and he molds them into his system.
It doesn't matter. It
doesn't matter who leaves. Like when Ronaldo left United, you know, they managed to replace him and to maintain success. Kind of like that's the thing. He's kind of like a budget Sir Alex Ferguson.
I see it, but if you're gonna compare someone to Sir Alex Ferguson, they should at least have 10 trophies. Like, I don't think they have a single one.
Alex Ferguson from Wish, right?
Like, not even, bro. Fucking Alex Ferguson at home.
And I love that it's not about a prolific goal scorer at Atalanta. The goals come from absolutely everywhere.
Because they have so many different avenues to attack from, dog.
This year they have 47 goals scored. Coop Miners is the top scorer with 7, tied with Lookman.
Like, you're kidding me.
Deke Talare has 6, Kamaka has 6, Ederson has 5. The list goes on and on and on. They've all been getting goals, man. These are the boom town rats, baby.
Why am I so hyped after you said that? Like, Atalanta are the fucking... You're right, bro. Atalanta are the boom town rats.
And they're on 45 points in 4th place,
Amazing.
while Sassuolo are in 18th with 20 points.
Cutting it pretty close, huh?
We need to get Mint on, so
Cutting
see what he has to
it-
say about this. I'm surprised Dionisi's still in charge.
Why the hell don't they sack him, like?
Because, I don't know, man. Liverani's taken. Bring him Ballardini, man. Put him on the Sassuolo bench.
Why don't they go...
4-4-2.
Loki Ballardini is a great shout. I would even go so far as to say maybe Walter Mazzarri. He was just at Napoli. Like, I'm sure he could bring something to the Sassuolo team.
No, stay away. Stay
away
Red
from
flag.
Mazzarri.
Red flag.
Yes.
I don't know if I'd take him right now, man. Plus, I don't even think he'd want to go because he's still getting paid from De Laurentiis, so that's probably impossible. You go for one of the experts, eh? You go for a Ballardini type of guy if you're in this position. I think that's what you do. And then next season you try to bring in a manager with a bit more pedigree to try to rebuild with. Because these guys, Sassuolo, man, have had a pretty successful time in Serie A since they came up. I mean, what's his name? Di Francesco took them all the way to the Europa League.
Yeah.
Let's not forget that. He brought them up from Serie 3 and took them to the Europa League. Then De Zerbi joined.
We watched them
and they
against
were
West Ham on the Mediterranean cruise, bro.
Exactly.
Smoking cigarettes in the casino, man. What the fuck? I love cruises so much.
It was a gorgeous time. And then they brought in De Zerbi, who had them playing this incredible brand of football that no other team in Italy was playing.
He was also on the verge of molesting everyone.
And then Dionisi came in. And Dionisi at first seemed to be a promising up-and-coming manager. But things have definitely gone stale, as we've said. Things have gone totally stale at Sassuolo, and it's time for a change.
Yeah. Next game, Lazio 1, Bologna 2. Lazio were coming off a 3-1 away win to Cagliari and a midweek 1-0 win over Bayern. Bologna coming off a 2-0 win over Fiorentina, which took place midweek. That's something we forgot to mention. There was the midweek game between Bologna and Fiorentina where Bologna won 2-0.
Yes.
The previous encounter between these two teams was a home victory for Bologna with the score of 1-0. Vecino and Romagnoli were suspended, with Zaccagni, Hisai and Rovella injured, so Patrick returned to the starting 11 for the first time since dislocating his shoulder a month ago, but that wasn't for long as he got injured in the beginning of the game, which led to Cesale replacing him. Freuler sat out a ban, and Sao Mauro was injured for the visitors, who beat Fiorentina 2-0 on Wednesday. Now, in the 13th minute, Immobile thought he opened the scoring, but the goal was disallowed. Anderson had done very well to dribble and outmuscle Posh before playing a defense-splitting pass to Ciro, who finished through the legs of Skorupski. However, it was disallowed. That 4 minutes later, Isaacson managed to get a legitimate goal with the help of Ciro Immobile. Momentum obviously favoured Lazio. Isaacson won the ball high up the field off of Ferguson, played a lovely 1-2 with Ciro Immobile and finished into the bottom corner very well. You told him to relax. Hey, how about he doesn't?
I think he's relaxed, huh?
He has relaxed a little bit. He doesn't look as frantic.
He looks composed, more composed, and his confidence has gone up. I think he's getting positive reinforcement for his performances, man.
Yeah.
So he's starting to build up his confidence.
He's active but not frantic.
Yes.
He was quite frantic before.
Absolutely.
In the 30th minute, call me, say, oh, Matt, he's so reactionary. This is save of the season so far. So in my opinion,
the fully extended one on Isaacson.
Bro,
incredible
fingertips.
Yes.
Fingertips. Isaacson cut inside and curled the ball. He curled it around Skorupski, but at the most full stretch possible, at the fullest stretch possible, he managed to fingertip literally like with the tiny part of his finger, the one that like has a lack of cartilage, like just fingertip stuff to save it onto the post. If you watch the highlights of this game, there's a fantastic angle in slow-mo and you get to see him pulling off that save. You get to see his face while he does that.
And how extended he was.
Yes, bro. The fullest of stretch.
I haven't heard you use the word finger this much since you were 14 years old.
It's true, man. It's true. 39th minute, Bologna equalized through El Azuzi. Lazio absolutely fucked it, to say the least. Provedel played a pass to Luis Alberto. Luis Alberto played the ball back to the keeper as though he didn't have 4 Bologna players around him. To be honest, he still could have done much better because he played a first-time pass without looking.
He crucified him, although.
Yes, he did crucify him. But he played it directly to Fabian. It bounced off and fell to El Azuzi, who finished. The linesman called for offside immediately, but VAR confirmed that El Azuzi was in an onside position, so the goal stood. 43rd minute, after some chaos in the Bologna box, Lukumi did brilliantly to head Guendouzi's strike off the line. In the 74th minute, Skorupski produced another great save. This time it was a brave stop to... He was very brave to dive into the feet of Tati Castellanos, who was clean through on goal. In the 78th minute, Zirkzee got the winner for Bologna. He played a lovely ball out wide to Christiansen, who returned a dangerous cross into the area where Zirkzee made his run, and the Dutchman finished with a sharp volley into the bottom corner, an exquisite rifle of a volley into the bottom corner, and it just shows he can create, he can score. Yes, sometimes Zirkzee is uncertain when he's in front of goal. He's always caught between two minds. He always favors the pass, but as time progresses, he can hopefully really improve in that area.
Yeah, that was a killer's goal. That was the goal of a killer, and that's not something we've been saying about Zirkzee. Zirkzee's silky, he's technical, he's a beast, but that killer instinct wasn't something that he's known for. So it's good to see him scoring goals like this, because they would be important for his development. If he were to be a number 9 for an important team, he has to get goals, like proper goal scoring striker. You have to be that. I thought Lazio approached the game well. I thought they started very strongly. I thought they picked up where they left off against Bayern Munich. I just think they didn't have enough in the tank, to be honest, to do it for two halves. And I do think that mistake really rattled them. And it was all downhill after that. I mean, these guys are only human. Eh? You make a mistake like that, Luis Alberto and Provedel will both be a little bit frustrated afterwards, annoyed, I can't even imagine the feeling, embarrassed.
Yeah, now keep in mind, Bologna also had their midweek game against Fiorentina. But the thing is, with Bologna's style of play, I don't think these players can get too fatigued. They play, so it's often been mentioned, this 2-7-2 formation of Motta. Yeah,
the vertical one. No?
It's a horizontal rather, a horizontal 2-7-2. Yeah. So it's not like 2 defenders, 7 players. No, it's 2 players on the left, 7 players in the middle, and 2 players on the right, which really allows Bologna to dominate the midfield part of the pitch. Now, if you look at the way they play, switching play from side to side with short, fast passes, almost in a tiki-taka way, and they base a lot of their play off of trust. No matter what situation a player is in, they pass the ball to him because that is the routine. And the player, more likely than not, they are able to pass the ball out of it. But because of this style of play, there isn't much, let's call it, physical activity.
It's not very taxing physically.
Exactly. So they had the capacity to beat Fiorentina 2-0 midweek, which aren't an easy side to play against, and then travel to Rome and beat Lazio 2-1 away from home. So I understand that Lazio didn't have enough in the tank following their great historic victory over Bayern Munich. But I think Bologna's style of play is so sustainable that Bologna are one of those teams that are dangerous for 90 minutes because they don't gas themselves out.
That's a fair point. Plus, they have the personnel to come off the bench and do exactly what the starters were doing. Stylistically, at least, the personnel on the bench can get the job done.
Yeah.
The heat map's a very interesting one of Bologna as well. It's like a straight line at the halfway line and no player beyond that. So it's like they press in the middle. But it's weird because they forced the goal on Provedel by pressing high.
Yeah.
So there is an element, of course, of pressing, but it's very, very tactical.
Yeah, it's strategic to say the least. And it's more about the positioning of the players rather than the press of the players. Like you see Fabian, for example, he's positioned so high up the pitch. More often than not, he is more advanced than Zirkzee. More often than not, Zirkzee is out in a number 8 role, looking for the wingers or looking for Fabian in the middle. But Bologna are back. They went through a bit of a spell where they suffered, but now they're unbeaten in 5 and they have 4 wins on the trot. Before that, it was their 2-2 draw against Milan.
They're definitely back with a vengeance, you know. I was quite surprised at how they dipped because they had looked so promising and so consistent, and they seemed to have everything figured out, and they seemed to have a plan B and a plan C when things weren't going to plan. So it's nice to see them bounce back, and it would be great to see a team like Bologna in Europe with that stadium. Can you imagine that stadium on a European night?
Absolutely, man.
I would absolutely love that.
Come on, give us the 5th spot, man. Give us the 5th spot. If Lazio knock out Bayern Munich,
honestly, it's going great right now. Coefficient wise, it's going well.
Yeah,
it's going well. Italian teams just keep winning in Europe. Like Lazio beat Bayern,
Madonna.
Inter beat Atletico, Milan beat Rennes. This is going swimmingly right now. Let's just hope that no one shits the bed.
It's looking good. Lazio, like you said, they started the game off well. I thought Immobile is showing us signs of the player he was a couple of seasons ago. However, Luis Alberto, it seems like he's fallen off a little bit in recent performances. It's like a lack of insertion almost. Yes,
he looks pedestrian in the games nowadays. He doesn't have that kind of... I don't know what it is, but sometimes I feel like the best quality of Luis Alberto is how pissed off he is when he plays. How fired up he is. How he
probably hasn't fought with the management for a while.
He plays with he plays the scowl on his face when he's playing well, you know, and he's always like swearing and mouthing everyone off. I feel like he looks a little bit either indifferent or not 100%. Maybe it's his condition that's not great. Maybe he's tired. All I know is that it's difficult to rest him right now because Kamada, once again, not really showing much.
No.
He came on against Bayern Munich when they were a man down. He really had he could have totally attacked them, and he could have really seized the opportunity to try to get his confidence up and make a name for himself on the European stage. Instead, he kind of let play happen around him instead of actually asking for the ball and trying to make things happen.
Exactly. Just 2 things before we move to the next game. Zirkzee has been sucking Milan off a little bit, talking about how it's every Dutch forward or every Dutch player's dream to play at Milan, that he's impressed and in awe of the San Siro and the atmosphere over there. Obviously, there have been links, and him passing these comments, obviously, it creates speculation. Now, we're both massive fans of Zirkzee. He's young, he's talented, he's amazing. He would typically, on paper, suit the style of Milan, who enjoy playing with a more creative number 9. However, you said something interesting last time about how you don't see him fitting the system. Please elaborate.
Because I see Milan lacking a killer man up front, and Milan thrive when Giroud pulls something out of his hat, you know, and like just scores something out of nothing. For example, let's look at Milan's most recent successful season, the Scudetto winning season. They were playing their best football. They went on a great stretch. And let's look at the head-to-head game that essentially won Milan the league that season, the game against Inter. The winning goal was Giroud being an absolute killer. Turn, shoot, devastating, So that's what I wonder. When you have a player who's kind of, who beats around the bush, let's just say that, like Leao, for example. Leao is a player who isn't, as we said, a prolific goal scorer. What you would want to counter that is someone who's more direct, someone who's more goal-scoring focused, someone who's more of a killer. Zirkzee, I'm not too sure is that type of player. He's a very creative forward, and I wonder how he could link up with Leao, and I do hope and I do envision them having an incredible partnership and this incredible chemistry of, passing and moving and dribbling and nutmeg. That would be incredible to see Zirkzee and Leao link up well. However, I'm not too sure about it because they're quite similar in the way that they both beat about the bush. They're both not very prolific, if you know what I mean. Of course, Zirkzee's still young and this can change, and we have seen moments where he has actually been a killer this season. Like this game, for example, he created that last goal all himself, as you said. His movement into the box was absolutely top-notch, and that finish was cold. But yeah, I'm not sure.
To be honest, I'm quite sold by him, and I would probably want him more than anyone else. I get what you mean, because up until last season he wasn't scoring, and scoring doesn't exactly seem to be his priority. He's often looking for the pass. But I think he's got it in his locker. I think he can unlock something in his teammates. Like Milan don't have someone that can play a defense-splitting pass in their team. Zirkzee can do that. Maybe we'll start seeing Leao win more goal-scoring opportunities. Maybe we'll see him, because the thing is with Leao, what I hate is when he cuts inside and goes for it himself, but we never see him making a dangerous run off the ball into a goal-scoring area inside the box. When is Leao ever attacking the box off the ball? Zirkzee could encourage that. He could encourage that with Pulisic. He could encourage that with Loftus-Cheek. I don't know. I think it will be a great investment.
My favorite thing about this potential deal is that Milan have some room for leeway over here because
of Salamakers
is over there. We have the likes of Colombo, who's been offered in every deal. I think they could make it happen because I feel like Bologna will ask for something upwards of 30 million.
Yeah, I think they'll ask
easily.
40. Yeah. I think they'll ask for Scuola, Bayern Munich, marketable
20
guy.
million and Salamakers, I take it.
20 minutes Salamakers, I'll take it in a fucking heartbeat, dog.
Yeah.
Last question. Providel, overrated, underrated, or perfectly rated?
Perfectly rated. Providel, slightly underrated, I would say. In Italy, perfectly rated. Overall, global reputation, underrated. Because he's a good player. Granted, he made a mistake over here, but he's a fantastic goalkeeper.
I agree.
Good shot stopper.
I agree. No, because obviously Twitter has been going nuts saying that he's overrated, and I totally disagree with that. Remember the guy was at Spezia 2 years ago.
Stupid bird app.
Yeah. Lazio are in 8th place on 37 points, whilst Bologna are in 5th on 45 points, level on points with Atalanta, who have a game in hand against Inter.
Napoli faced Genoa at the Stadio Diego Armando Maradona and drew 1-1. So for Napoli, who at the time were under Mazzarri, played with Meret in goal in their 4-3-3, with Di Lorenzo, Rahmani, Ostegardo, Mazzocchi at the back, Anguissa, Lobotka and Hamad Traore in midfield, Politano, Simeone and Kvaratskhelia leading the charge. For Genoa, it was a 3-5-2 formation with Josep Martinez in goal, Vasquez, Bani and De Winter as the centre-back trio, with Sabelli and Martin on the flanks, with Frendrup, Badel and Messias in the middle, and Goodmanson and Retegui up front. Now, Gvicha Kvaratskhelia aimed to capitalise on Victor Osimhen's absence and equalise the Nigerian Serie A tally, initiating promising attacks within 2.5 minutes. He was doing the whole a trademark thing at the moment. It's the Kvaratskhelia, I would call it, when you cut left, cut right, cut left, cut right. It's like, where's he gonna go?
Well, he pulled off against Atalanta.
Exactly, and he almost scored one like that from the get-go this game, man. And this was literally, bro, this game, I could just summarize it. I don't even need to go through the play-by-play.
Do it.
It's Kvaratskhelia against the world, man. Honestly, because it's only him attacking. And then eventually at the end they brought Ngonga off the bench and he saved them. That's it. But throughout the game, man,
you've committed to the Ngonga.
I don't know what to do, man. No one's saying Ngonge anymore.
It's true, man. It's true. So
it was all about it was all about Ngonge when he was. I guess it was Ngonge at Verona and Ngonga at Napoli.
Yes, bro went to the south of Italy and switched up real quick.
Yeah. I'm still gonna run you through the game, obviously. So Napoli dominated the first half. Hamad Traore and Anguissa created goal-scoring opportunities, but they couldn't get anything done. In the second half, Genoa seized the lead when Frendrup capitalized on a poor Napoli clearance, silencing the home crowd with a well-placed shot to get his first goal for Genoa and his first goal in Serie, the exciting Morten Frendrup. Kvaratskhelia responded with skillful maneuvers, creating chances, but Giovanni Simeone and others could not convert. Kvaratskelia's set pieces kept Genoa on the defensive, notably a corner that Zambo Anguissa missed from 6 yards with 16 minutes left. With time ticking away, Napoli mounted a late comeback. Giovanni Di Lorenzo's cross found Cyril Ngonge at the far post, and in the 90th minute, Ngonge maintained composure, turning and firing past the goalkeeper. It was a little spin and shoot.
At a point, you said Ngonge and others.
Yeah,
I think in my mind I just thought it's like
that's the title of the episode.
No, it's like when you wrote someone's photo and there's someone you follow likes the photo at like 109,000 others. Like
yeah, that's it. This game, it's like Kvaratskhelia and 7 others attempted a shot. But yeah, man, Genoa are just so impressive as always, and Napoli are so underwhelming, man. They really don't have any strategy going forward, especially under Mazzarri. And in fact, this is going to take all the talking points. He's been sacked for a man called Francesco Calzona. I'm not sure, did we cover this in the last episode?
No,
right?
We didn't, of course.
Okay.
Not.
So Francesco Calzona, of course, has been appointed as Napoli manager just 2 days before their clash against Barcelona in the Champions League. Now, you'd ask me, okay, but surely he's an experienced manager, right? No, he isn't. He's only been the manager of one team, and that happened in 2022 when he became the manager of the Slovakia national team. Now, he is still in charge of Slovakia. He's in charge of Slovakia and Napoli at the same time. Didn't even know that was an option. Like I thought, couldn't Spalletti have done that? But before that, he was the assistant manager at Napoli, Cagliari, Empoli, Sorrento, Alessandria, Perugia. He has worked alongside Sarri. Yeah. And he worked at Napoli with Spalletti.
Yep.
So what De Laurentiis is doing is absolutely hilarious to me. It's like, if you can't get Spalletti back, bring his assistant back.
At first it was just get someone who plays a 4-3-3 because it's the same thing. Like, and then it was, just bring in someone that's managed them before. Now it's like, maybe we should try harder to replicate Spalletti. So he got his assistant.
If they don't beat Barca today, I think ADL will give him a call and tell him, hey, can you shave your head?
No, but look, at least Calzona has had a lovely playing career. He played for 1 season at Arezzo, where he featured 3 times and scored no goals.
Yeah, once in the Coppa Italia as well.
Respect. His managerial career, he's been the assistant manager. I know you said this already.
Yeah.
Perugia, Alessandria, Sorrento, Empoli, Napoli, Cagliari.
Yeah, and with the Slovakian national team, he has a 50% win rate. He's managed 14 games, won 7, drawn 4, and lost 3. Which, to be honest, for Slovakia isn't bad. I don't know the quality of opponent, but yeah, definitely not a long-term hiring over here, unless you find success and you have no choice, right?
Yeah, exactly. Maybe they win the Champions League.
It's definitely interesting with Barcelona happening so soon after, but yes, that is pretty much what's happening at Napoli. I'm very curious to see how they'll play. Are they really going to move back to a 4-3-3? Because Mazzarri kind of had them playing a 3 at the back formation. At least in games he would opt for that, if not starting like that. So the players must be so tired of this at the moment.
Yeah.
Napoli are in... Where are they? In 9th, okay. 9th with 36 points. while Genoa are in 12th with 30 points.
Next game, Frosinone 0, Roma 3. Frosinone were coming off a 5-1 loss to Fiorentina, whilst Roma were coming off a 4-2 home loss to Inter and a midweek 1-1 away draw to Feyenoord. The previous encounter between these two sides was a 2-0 home victory for Roma. The Giallorossi rested Dybala after Thursday's 1-1 Europa League playoff draw away to Feyenoord, so Baldanzi got his first start, with Tammy Abraham now being the only remaining absentee. Surprisingly, or not, Svilar was chosen ahead of Patricio in goal. However, the Canarini had Romagnoli suspended, plus Zortea, Marchizza, Oyono, Bonifazi and Luswardi out injured. They've had an injury crisis for a while. It's probably because you know how Frosinone play their football? The same way the Japanese fought in World War II. Turati in goal for Frosinone with a backline of Valeri, Okoli, Monterisi and Lirola. Mazzitelli and Brescianini in a double pivot with Gelli, Reiner and Sule playing behind Caio George. It was a 4-2-3-1 formation for the Rossi's men, with Svilar in goal and a backline of Christensen, Mancini, Huijsen and Angelino. A double pivot of Cristante and Paredes, with Baldanzi, Azmoun and El Shaarawy playing behind Lukaku. In the 23rd minute, Svilar pulled off a great save to deny Sule's curling strike from distance. It was quite similar to the save of the season of Skorupski, but he didn't need to stretch that much to get his fingertips. He managed to get an entire palm, so it was a bit easier. But no, fantastic save by the keeper stepping in to replace Rupa Trish. 30th minute, Frosinone had the ball on a plate 3 times in a row inside of Roma's area. First Villar saved, then Mancini blocked, and then Caio George hit it just wide. In the 38th minute, Huijsen was like, why are Frosinone absolutely demolishing us? He collected the ball on the halfway line, skipped past George, charged forward through the middle, sent Mazzitelli to church, and curled the ball into the far corner from outside the area and hit us with a sui during the celebration. What a fucking screamer by the centre-back. Amazing. Everyone lost their minds. It's one of those things you love to see, a centre-back getting a goal like that. Like I said earlier, he was linked with a move to Frosinone in January, but he chose Roma, and he showed Frosinone just what they missed out on. In the 71st minute, Azmoun made it 2. Cristante's crack from distance was saved by Turati, but fell to Azmoun, who finished on the rebound. Now, I don't think Azmoun ever played for Frosinone.
I don't know, man.
So why is he apologising for the goal?
I have no idea why he put his hands up, why he... Maybe it was because Huijsen had celebrated so obnoxiously. That's the only thing
he didn't really. It's a half-assed sui.
I don't. But I honestly can't understand why he wouldn't celebrate, because it doesn't make any sense. He has no affiliation with Frosinone.
Not at all.
Let's just take a look here.
It's just like, sorry guys. All right.
Yeah.
How sweet.
Well, what a nice guy. Now we know Azmoun's one of the real ones. Nice
exactly.
guy.
He's chill. He doesn't celebrate against Frosinone.
He's never played for them.
Until you find that, I'll just say that in the 80th minute, Paredes converted a penalty. He sent Turati the wrong way. The penalty was won by Baldanzi's shot that struck the stray arm of Okoli. Are you still looking?
Yeah. No, bro. He never played for them.
Yeah, there you go. What the hell is going on?
I have no idea. He played for Rostov and Zenit and Leverkusen, but never Frosinone.
Weird, man, weird. I feel like Frosinone started the game off trying to expose the defensive vulnerabilities that Roma are currently facing under De Rossi. And I feel like had Roma not opened the scoring in the first half, then it would have been quite a tough affair, because Frosinone really set the tone with consistent offensive football, and they can stun a team. But Roma did well to remain calm and weather the storm. They got a hurrah goal, and after that they really managed to, showcase their dominance.
Frosinone, I'm not quite sure about their approach. I love the fact that they play positive football and was working like a charm for them. But in this day and age, lately, as the season progressed, this is going to get them relegated, man, because you can't continue with this approach, because you've stopped scoring as many goals as you used to. And if you do go out with this plan, you need to score 3 goals to win a game, you know?
Yeah.
Like, you're conceding at least 2 goals every game. It's not working. There's something seriously broken about the system, and they need a plan B. They need a different approach. You can't just attack everyone, especially with the quality you have on your team. You can't just attack everyone.
Listen to this. Frosinone lost 7 out of their last 9 matches, but their last 9 matches were against. Listen to this. Juve, Lazio, Monza, Atalanta, Milan, Fiorentina, Roma. Those are the 7 games they lost. They drew to Hellas Verona and they beat Cagliari. But those 7, give them a break. You heard who I said, bro.
Yeah.
All of them. All of them except Inter.
It's and they have Juve up next.
Who they also played in the Coppa
But
Italia,
then this is going to be very telling. Lecce and Sassuolo back to back. So that's very good. That's going to be telling for Frosinone. And, you know, attack Sassuolo.
Yeah.
Attack Lecce, sure. I mean, Lecce are quite dangerous on the counter, but you can't go out and attack this fucking Roma side from the get-go.
No.
You know, I don't know. There's something wrong with the approach.
Yeah. I think Roma, they rotated quite well, and this is what I'm talking about, dude. This is exactly what I'm talking about. They brought on Baldanzi and Azmoun. You know what I mean? They kept Lukaku in there, they kept El Shaarawy in there, they kept Cristante, they kept Paredes. Subtle changes in order to remain sharp, even in a game like this, sure. Same as Inter to that degree. But I don't think there's too much to go into when a team like Roma beats a team like Frosinone 3 goals to
No
0.
way. A stellar performance by Roma. De Rossi continues to impress, as we said in the intro. We discussed last week if Roma's performance against Inter warranted failure on De Rossi's behalf. I said yes, he failed to get anything out of the game, so it's a failure. You said no, it's a success. He passed the first test because he gave Inter such a run for their money in the conditions that there were. If that was up for debate, the rest of his tenure has not been up for debate, because even in the European fixture he got a draw in the away match against quite a formidable opponent. So far so good for De Rossi.
Absolutely, what a start for him. I wouldn't have expected this at all. Yeah. Roma are in 6th on 41 points. They're still 4 points behind 5th placed Bologna. They can't get there very much. Frosinone in 15th on 23 points, just 3 points ahead of Sassuolo on 18th.
Empoli took on Fiorentina in the Tuscan Derby and actually held them 1-1. They lined up with Caprile in goal. It was a 3-4-2-1 formation with Ismaili, Valukevic and Luperto at the back, Jazi on the right, Kakache on the left with Grassi and Male in the middle, Zurkowski and Cambiaghi playing behind Alberto Cerri, who is not related to Juve next gens Cerri.
Yeah.
For Fiorentina, it was a 4-2-3-1 formation with Terracciano in goal, Biraghi on the left, Faroni on the right, who both experienced injuries this game. Milenkovic and Martinez Cuart as a centre-back partnership with Duncan and Mandragora in a double pivot, Nico Gonzalez on the right, Riccardo Sotil on the left, and Lucas Beltran playing behind Il Gallo Bellotti.
And Zola's somewhere crying.
And Zola's underwater right now. So Empoli extended their unbeaten streak in Serie A under survival specialist Davide Nicola to a club record 5 games. So that's how their season's going.
Yeah.
It started terribly. They had 1 goal in how many games? Remember that?
Yeah.
But yeah, now they're making history with Davide Nicola. Truly a special man. I would love to be in a room with him to see what his aura is about, man. Because he changes teams by stepping into that dressing room.
Granted, I might fucking get promoted 2 days after speaking to him, man.
Granted, it seems to be short-lived. Because maybe his effect isn't long-lasting, you know. Maybe it's
he had a good season the season after at Salernitana. He had a decent season,
but he always gets sacked, you know. He always gets sacked after.
Sometimes even twice.
Yeah,
in quick succession.
Exactly.
Bro, what's this just? He got a yellow card in the first minute.
That's a fantastic question, bro.
He got a yellow card in the first minute.
robust tackle, brother. Okay. It was a very hard tackle. It was a very aggressive game from the get-go as well. I mean, Biraghi and Faroni and Grassi all got injured in the opening half hour in this game.
Jesus.
So they were kicking the shit out of each other. Yeah,
Wow.
Grassi was like a loose cannon, bro, out there. In the 29th minute, Mandragora's precise pass set up Lucas Beltran, who fired low into the opposite corner, giving Fiorentina the lead. He literally squeezed it in, man. He squeezed it in.
Yeah, literally. From a tough angle,
From
man.
a tough angle. Very,
Kudos.
very good goal. After halftime, Empoli displayed renewed vigour, missing a chance to level early in the second period when Cancelleri fired wide. Undeterred, Empoli seized an opportunity to equalise when Faroni fouled Cancelleri in the box. Cancelleri, man, is the most chaotic player in the league. He'll get the ball, he'll charge, and you never know if he's going to turn, if he's going to pass, if he's going to shoot. But his industry is second to none, and he is the type of player I think a coach would love to have because he leaves everything on the pitch. And that was the same point, by the way. I know I'm gonna deter a little bit over here, but this is the point I wanted to make about Kvaratskhelia as well. It's true, off the pitch there's a little bit of controversy around him because his agent talks a lot and he's open to leaving publicly and all that. But on the pitch, he's never disinterested. He's never
over.
pedestrian.
Yeah.
He's always involved. He's always calling for
guy.
it. He acts like the guy. He's the guy, Yeah. But anyway, Cancelleri has the same philosophy and approach to football. Let's just say that. So yes, Cancelleri was fouled in the box, which means that new boy Mbaye Nyang could step up and show us if that first penalty was a fluke or not. And boy, was it not a fluke, because this penalty was just as tasty as that first one. He is a specialist, man, at penalties. Wow.
Apparently.
He used to be at Milan at the time. Balotelli was there. And Balotelli used to take a similar style of penalty. So I wonder if he learned that from him, because Balotelli was his big bro, remember, at the time.
Balotelli was his big bro, and Balotelli also had he had maintained a 100% record from the spot, which I believe got screwed up at Milan.
Against
if I'm not
Udinese,
mistaken.
I believe. I had it on video. Remember?
That was
with Torri. No, I was like, he never misses, and Torri goes, he will miss, and then he missed, and I screamed on the video cut.
Yes, that's
hilarious.
crazy.
Yeah. So I'm sure he learned a thing or two from Super Mario over there. Empoli.
He probably learned what not to do from Mario and maybe his personal life.
Remember when he crashed and said he was Traore?
Did he do that?
Yes, bro. He crashed. He was in a car crash, young, and the police came up to him and they asked for his identity, and he said that he was Traore. The Traore was playing with Milan at the time, the bald one. Can you imagine? Can you imagine, bro? You get an accident. I'm Zach.
Was I haven't done that before?
Empoli, anyway, fueled by the equalizer, pressed forward. Razvan Marin tested Terracciano from a distance. Despite Empoli's efforts, they couldn't find the second goal. Fiorentina held for a draw, preventing their first run of 4 straight Serie A away defeats since November 2021.
Whoa. What a milestone for Italiano's men, not getting their 4th away loss in a row. Really, massive congratulations to Fiorentina.
I would say that everyone was upset after this game because Empoli didn't really clear the relegation pool, and Fiorentina drop a little bit further away from that European spot.
Yeah.
Hard fought though. Empoli are a tough nut to crack nowadays, man. They can really absorb. Fiorentina were all over them the first half, but they remained organized, they remained compact, and then by the end of the game, I think Empoli had the better chances than Fiorentina did.
Bro,
so they can grow into games. Absolutely.
How crazy is it that one man can do that? Now I know he comes in with his coaching staff and all of that, but one man. From the Empoli we saw the opening 7 games, I believe, 7 games, they hadn't scored a single goal yet. In comes fucking miracle worker, Davide Nicola, snaps his fingers, and they're holding Fiorentina, they're holding Juventus, they're beating anyone that's around their level. Amazing stuff, man, by Empoli. They're really, really impressing me.
And I'm really happy Joseph Minala told us what he told us. because we got some insight on Davide Nicola.
Yes.
Because I didn't know that before we spoke to him. I
Right.
didn't know that he was
You want
the
to
type...
reiterate?
Yes,
just
we've mentioned this, of course. Regular listeners will know this, but Joseph Minala, the former Lazio man who we interviewed on our podcast, basically told us that Davide Nicola, who he was playing for at Bari at the time, yes, is the type of manager who comes in, and even though Joseph Minala was on loan at the time and didn't really have a career at Bari, didn't really have a long-term future at Bari, Nicola made him want to die for him. He said he makes football, Joseph Minala said, and I quote, about life. He makes football about life. So I'm curious to see what his approach is. I'm honestly going to read more about Nicola, man, because he's honestly a miracle worker, and he's done it twice, and you can't take a team from dead last to a miracle survival twice in a row by coincidence. He did it once at Crotone and once with Salernitana, man.
He must have some real vigor about him.
Yes.
We also mentioned that he lost a son, Davide Nicola, which obviously not to say that a dreadful experience like that would give him an asset in a locker room, but tragedy occasionally brings groups of people together, and using a devastating anecdote such as that to really get your players to feel a certain way, to feel that emotion, and to go out there and say like, yes, this is a matter of life and death. You know what I mean? That's what he can do. He's a fucking miracle worker, man.
Yeah, honestly, respect to him. And disappointing stuff for Fiorentina, as I struggle to open the table.
Yes, we're going over 2 hours in this one, guys.
It's okay, it's a treat for you guys. Fiorentina are in 7th with 38 points, while Empoli are down in 16th with 22 points, 2 points clear of relegation.
Yes. Torino 2, Lecce 0. Torino were coming off a 1-1 away draw to Sassuolo, whilst Lecce were coming off a 4-0 loss to Bologna. The previous encounter was an away victory for Torino with the score of 1-0. The Granata were eager to reboot after back-to-back stalemates, but had Tamez suspended, with Bongiorno, Rodriguez and Shores injured, so into an emergency situation in defence. Torino, don't you worry, we know all about that. Jean Drey returns from his ban for Lecce, but Lamek Banda was out. It was a 3-4-1-2 formation for Juric's men, with Vanya in goal and a backline of Mazina, Lovato and Gigi, Bellanova on the right, Lazaro on the left, and a double pivot of Ilic and Ricci, with Vlasic just ahead of them, Zapata and Pellegrini starting up front. 4-3-3 for Lecce, with Falcone in goal and a backline of Jean Drey, Pongracic, Baschirotto and Dorgu. Raffia, Blin and Ramadani formed the midfield three, with Almqvist on the right, Udan on the left and Piccoli up front. Now in the 13th minute, Mazina had to clear the ball off the line after Vanja Milinkovic-Savic spilt a corner kick, which led to a Piccoli attempt, uncharacteristical error by the big Serb. In the 49th minute, Bellanova got his first goal ever for Torino with a low thunderous strike into the bottom corner from the edge of the area. This guy, just every time I see him, he impresses me. It's much before his time at Torino that we noticed his talent. He charges forward so effectively, he dribbles like a winger, and turns out he has that shot in his locker as well. And he's quite a tough motherfucker as well. In the 70th minute, Pongracic got his second yellow card of the evening following a mistimed challenge on Ricci, reducing Lecce to 10 men, and 1 minute later Falcone was forced into pulling off a super save to deny Sanabria header from point blank range. In the 80th minute, Voivoda's corner was headed in by Duvan to make it 2-0 and seal the victory for Torino. Finally, Torino, who struggle to win games, struggle to get goals, they always look so solid as a team. And we know that a Juric team is going to look good. But struggling to get wins, they got 2 draws against Sassuolo and Salernitana, which are obviously 2 teams they should have beaten, but good to see them get the ball over the line now.
Yes, absolutely. I still think that it's gone a little bit stale, but they are in the running for a European spot. They can push for a Conference League spot. They're right up there. They're on 36 points. That 7th spot is occupied by Fiorentina at the moment with 38 points. So they're right there. They're still in the running. let's see if they manage to consistently see games out until the end of the season, because it's definitely not a problem of defense. They started off the season with a terrible defensive display against Milan.
Yeah.
And they kind of recovered after that, and they became tighter and tighter and tighter, but the goals always struggled to come. Now Duvan Zapata has found some form. He's been a revelation over there. And Raul Bellanova as well, by the way, man. I'm sure Spalletti's watching him very closely, because this season is special for him.
Di Lorenzo has been slack-a-lacking recently, alongside, all of his teammates. Calabria, he's good, but he's not an Italy starter.
And they don't like him.
Yeah, no one likes him.
He never gets called up.
Yeah. Bellanova might be this new right back for Spalletti's men. He might just be it for Italy. Give him some time, because he's still young.
23 years old, still young. Yeah.
For me, he can start some games from now.
It depends on how he would cope in a 4 at the back, because we always see him in a
Apparently Spalletti's open to a 3
at the back. That would be very interesting. I mean, if he does that, he would have Di Marco on one side and Bellanova on the other, potentially.
Yes.
Which could
even Di Lorenzo. I mean, he's good, but Bellanova, when it comes to he can. The way he charges forward is exceptional. It's very, very good.
He's got a good stride about him.
Yes, a very good stride. Honestly, I often call players horses, guys, but don't take anything away when I call people horses, because I mean it, man. The guy is a horse.
He's a horse.
Great one, bro.
I remember following him at the Primavera, and he used to post videos of himself on Instagram making these runs as a 16-year-old. And I always used to think to myself...
posting pictures of Chiellini's dick, of course, as well.
Yes, and I always thought to myself, this kid's promising. He's good. He's a good player. But then eventually, when he went off to the French league, I was like, it's a shame that he's taken this. His career has taken this trajectory. Then he came back to Italy. I don't know who it was with. Cagliari, I think. Cagliari. Then Inter, right after. And now he's at Torino. And this is his best season by far. But nice to see that he's learning, I mean, when you move around and you spend some time at Inter, you learn from good players.
Absolutely. And to be honest, this season Inter could have really utilized him, because Dumfries has fallen out of favor. Darmian is great for the way that he's utilized, but Bellanova, to me, his ceiling is high. His ceiling is very high. So yes, that's enough about Bellanova. That's enough about this game, I believe. To be completely fair to Lecce, who are quite... It's hard to put a finger on Lecce, because they are part of the conversation for relegation, but sometimes they don't look like they're part of the conversation.
They were many people's favourites coming into the season for relegation. Many people were saying, Lecce haven't strengthened at all. Their team looks...
I was one of them.
Looks weird,
Lecce and Empoli for relegation.
They've done well so far, and I think that I wouldn't write them off as a relegated team this season.
No, I wouldn't write them off, but they're part of the conversation.
Yes, absolutely.
They're contenders.
Anyone from 13th downwards, so from literally Lecce downwards, everyone's in the conversation. Exactly. To be honest, technically, even Genoa and Monza are in the conversation, because if they lose every single game left, they're relegated. 33 points. It's happened before that teams have been relegated. Look at Empoli that one season.
Yeah.
But I mean, obviously, 13th downwards.
I would say 13th downwards. They all have a solid chance at relegation. It's a toss-up between them. Torino sit in 10th place on 36 points, level with Napoli. They both have a game in hand. Whilst Lecce sit in 13th place on 24 points, just 4 points ahead of Sassuolo on 18th.
Up next.
I'm an island boy, and I've been trying to make. Oh, I'm an island boy. I'm a just island boy.
Yo.
I'm a just island boy. I'm a get Kiwi grind.
Of course, we're talking about Cagliari, the island boys, the Sardinians. They took on Udinese away from home, and they drew 1-1.
I'm an island boy.
For the Island boys, it was Scuffet in goal in their 4-4-1-1 formation with Augello on the left, Zappa on the right, Dossena and Mina as the centre-back partnership. Jakub Jankto was out on the left, Zito Lovumbo out on the right with Deola and Makumbu in the middle. Lapadula was the sole striker with Gianluca Gaetano playing behind him on loan from Napoli. For Udinese, it was a 3-5-1-1 formation with Okoye in goal, Nguyen Perez, Gianetti and Christensen at the back with Ezibwe on the right and Zemura on the left. Lovric, Wallace and Samardzic were in the middle with Florian Thuvan playing behind Lorenzo Lucca. Udinese, with just one home victory this season, quickly pleased their fans as Jordan Zamora ended an 18-match goal drought with an exquisite curling strike, giving the hosts an early lead. This was a magnificent goal, man.
It was a very good goal, yes.
In front of their flans. It keeps coming, bro, flans. I don't know why I'm saying flans. Despite Udinese's dominance, Lorenzo Lucca's shocking miss in the 30th minute, heading just wide with no defenders nearby, proved to be costly for them. Cagliari capitalized on this reprieve just before halftime with on-loan Napoli player Gaetano confidently heading home Augello's cross. And this was a fantastic header. I didn't think that Gaetano had this in his skill set. I thought he was more of a player who thrived with the ball at his feet, but he beat a man in the air comfortably. He attacked the box well, he inserted himself perfectly. Good header there by Gaetano to score 2-2. 2-2. What a lone spell so far.
Mm-hmm.
Entering the second half, Cagliari, known for a lack of goals on the road, aimed to increase their attacking threat. Lapadula's fierce effort hit the crossbar early on, while Udinese felt aggrieved when a potential handball by Zappa went unnoticed by the referee. That was quite a controversial moment over there. In the 74th minute, Samardžic's powerful strike narrowly missed the target, concluding the goal-mouth action. I think this game went down to Lorenzo Lucca being a little bit too wasteful. In my opinion, Lorenzo Lucca's strengths are actually not what many people would think that they are.
Agreed.
Many people would think, a 6'7" striker must be great in the air.
Mm-hmm.
I think he could be much better in the air. I think he's still far from the final product. I think for his size, he should be much better, much more dominant when it comes to aerial duels, especially his scoring headers. He's very good with the ball at his feet, man. Much better. At one point, though, a cross did come in, and I do think he had time to take it down, but he went for a volley on his stronger foot, but he failed to hit the target. These moments can be costly, right? This is his first season in Serie A as the main man for a team. It's going quite well overall, but you will get these games out of a player in his first season as the prolific goal scorer, right?
Yeah, that's it. He was thrown into the deep end. He's starting week in, week out for Udinese and Serie A, which is naturally great for his career, but he's still figuring it out, so to say. Whereas, Udinese are still figuring it out as well.
Absolutely, man. Jordan Zamora got his first goal in Serie A, the man from Zimbabwe. Very happy for him. He looked pleased with that. Nice to see another goal. I don't think we've seen a Zimbabwean score this season.
Definitely not this season, no. Definitely not this season.
So nice to see that.
Yeah, I want to highlight Yerry Mina. Great performance.
Fine, his first good performance, let's be real, this season, because he's looked shaky so far, man.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, he had a long
but that's why
injury.
it's important to highlight him, right? Because he's had a bit of a breakthrough.
He had a last-ditch tackle. He loved it at the end.
Two of them, bro.
But one of them was incredible, and he got up and fist bumped the air, love that shit.
He's a showman.
Yeah, he is. He really is. Even when he scored the penalty for Fiorentina, he broke into a little dance.
Yeah, I rolled my eyes so hard when that happened.
Lapadula stepped up and took a free kick. I found that funny.
That's true.
I never expected Lapadula to be on free kick duty,
Right.
But yeah, when it came to who deserved to win this game, I would say Udinese slightly deserved it, but they didn't take their chances, so I guess in the end, a draw is a fair result. Cagliari would be the more disappointed side. They currently are in 19th with 19 points. Just one mere point from safety, while Udinese are up in 14th with 23 points. It's tight at the bottom.
Yes. That's it for this episode. I don't think we'll have anything else to add. It was a bit longer than usual because, Milan went through a tough time this week. So
sorry, we spent a little bit too long speaking about Milan, but you know what, man? My show.
We often say that. Who's our boss? No one.
Exactly.
Wanted to speak about Milan, man, so spoke about Milan.
Look, if the patrons come to me and they're like, we don't like the Milan content, gone.
Yep. Well, let's relax.
Yeah.
Right, it'll never be gone. But yeah, we hope you guys enjoyed it. Some good talking points here, some smashing goals, Marianne. We'll see you all next week. Oh, this is something we should say. We're going to Salerno, bro, to watch Salernitana.
Yes, we have to book.
Yes.
That's going to be fucking crazy.
Because you don't like saying you're doing things before it's confirmed.
Yes,
that's the thing about you.
Yes, I don't like saying I'm going to do things till I do them. Actually, it's a fucking weird thing I have. Real G's move in silence like lasagna.
Yeah, there you go. Are we lasagna? We've been lasagna. Thank you for listening, and we will see you all next week.
Goodbye, guys.
This is Serie Spotlight.
If you like Serie A or have ever liked it in the past, it's a good opportunity for you to listen once a week and you'll get filled in.
In the football weekend, that's like the main dish. But then a few days later, you drop your episode and that's like the dessert. And the dessert is just perfect.
It's good, the cake.
It makes it feel like we're all sitting in a room together, just BSing with each other.
The atmosphere is fantastic.
I promise nobody will ask you to send boob pics.
Sometimes maybe good, sometimes maybe shit.
I love how you go into so much detail and show so much passion towards each and every team. Literally, no team is left undiscussed.
When I listen to you, it's like I'm talking to you in a pub. It's like I'm chatting to a friend and you're chatting to me.